What a perfect way to start your day. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the program. I hope you had a great weekend. You had enough rest, and we are glad that you are up and early with us once again on Good Morning Kenya. You know how we do it. This is KBC Channel 1. The show is Good Morning Kenya. A lot happened over the weekend, including the release of the Bipartisan Talks report. And now talks are already on. So what is the talks about the talks? We'll be taking a look at that later on with my analyst. I have David Alulu, who is a political analyst, and Gibson Gesol, who is an advocate of the High Court. I just want us to unpack what really happened, some of the recommendations from the committee, what is the hot potato so far, and what is the president saying? What about Azimio? We just need to talk about that moving forward because we know it's going to impact you in a way. So that is our topic for today on Eye on Politics. Juicy, beautiful, tamu, right. Vivian.
Good morning, Victor, and a very good morning to our viewers. I hope that you guys had a lovely weekend. We are on to a new week, and thank you for choosing us to start off your morning and your week. Now, today the president is set to chair an emergency cabinet meeting to talk about the rains that are causing havoc in the country. The rains have so far claimed around 76 lives, and more than 34,000 people have been displaced. What is the government planning to do about this particular rains that seem to have caught us off guard, despite us knowing that El Nino was bound to come? Anyway, we will be following up on that particular story, and then later on the show on transformative leaders, I will be having a conversation on providing affordable housing solutions, and joining me for this particular conversation will be one Kamwamba Helen. You want to tune in for that. Right now, Marie is also with us in studio. Good morning, Marie.
Well, a very good morning to you, Vivian, and to you, Victor. Back to you at home or wherever you're joining us. This is indeed Good Morning Kenya. My name is Marie Ambo. We have a lot lined up for you. You know, Victor has already alluded to the fact that the Bipartisan Talk or the National Dialogue Committee report was presented to the president. He's acknowledged the receipt of that particular report. We'll be bringing you details of that in this news. There are some issues within that report that, you know, some politicians are not seeing eye to eye. So we'll be able to follow up that for you. Definitely this is a particular story that is be making headlines definitely within this particular week. Also, the floods are causing havoc. A section of Kenyans, or at least many Kenyans, thousands of them, have been displaced in different parts of the country as the El Nino rains continue. We'll be bringing you up to speed in as far as that is concerned. But right now we want to get into the bipartisan talks where President William Ruto has acknowledged receipt of the National Dialogue Committee report, pledging to fully implement recommendations within the purview of the executive. Ruto also challenged Parliament to fast-track the enactment of legislations to support the implementation of the report, calling for unity of purpose in addressing the challenge of high cost of living. This comes as opposition leader Raila Odinga says he will study the report keenly. Gladys Mongai brings us the highlights from the report that is likely to attract debate as it heads to Parliament.
The journey to develop the 267-page National Dialogue Committee Report 2023 began on the 29th of August 2023. This was after Parliament gave the green light for the establishment of the 10-member committee with a mandate to facilitate dialogue, build consensus, and recommend constitutional, legal, and policy forms on issues of concerns to Kenyans. 3 months after its establishment, the committee released a detailed report.
We have placed Kenya above personal ambitions, recognizing that our people's unity and our nation's prosperity are paramount.
The committee has been able to build consensus on a majority of issues. However, there is a divergent opinion on a few issues that have been referred to the leadership of the two coalitions for further consideration.
President William Ruto has since welcomed its recommendations with a pledge to implement the proposals.
All the recommendations they have made, they are practical. We are going to work on those recommendations to reduce in areas they have recommended, to do whatever they have recommended in Parliament. Those that belong to the executive, I will make sure that we execute without any delay.
At the same time, Ruto called for unity, urging Parliament to put in place the necessary legislation to support implementation.
The job of the rest of us as Kenyans now is to unite and move together into the future to build our country, to build the unity of the citizens of our country, and to work on our economy.
Opposition leader Raila Odinga, who was in Migori County, also confirmed receiving the report. He, however, remained non-committal on its contents. The report recommends legislative changes that will see development and changes to 9 bills, namely the introduction of the Leader of the Opposition Bill 2023 and amendments to the following bills: the Constitution of Kenya, Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, Elections Bill, Election Offences, Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, the Statutory Instruments Bill, the Political Parties and the National Government Coordination Amendment Bill. Among the proposals that could require constitutional changes are the creation of the office of the official leader of the opposition, entrenchment of the office of the Prime Cabinet Secretary, increase of the period to determine a presidential petition from 14 to 21 days, entrenchment of the National Government Constituency Development Fund, the National Government Affirmative Action Fund, and the Senate Oversight Funds into the Constitution. The committee has also agreed on the restructuring and reconstitution of IEBC, boundaries delimitation, and the audit of the 2022 presidential elections.
Never again will political contestations in our country become a theater for animosity or hatred.
Other salient recommendations include rationalizing government expenditure by reducing travel allowance budget by 50%, reviewing the national tax policy, governance issues such as legislative intervention to guide the impeachment of governors, and fidelity to the political parties as well as coalitions. On the cost of living, the report indicates the committee was unable to build a consensus on the proposals to reduce VAT on petroleum products from 16 to 8%, as well as scrapping of the house levy. The committee was formulated following street protests over the 2022 presidential outcome.
That is a report that we'll be keeping an eye on. With those recommendations, will they really see the light of day when it comes to cutting, the travel budget of the government by 50%? Will Parliament leave to its billing? And also the cost of living will be something that Kenyans will be keen on following to see whether parliamentarians will actually heed their call. Now, disgruntled parents and candidates thronged the Kenya National Examinations Council Mitiani House headquarters in Nairobi on Sunday to protest the alleged irregular awarding of Kenya Certificate of Primary Education examination results. The group has in the meantime called for the suspension of Monday's launch of the Form 1 placement exercise until their grievances are addressed.
A day after Kenya National Examination Council admitted having awarded 133 candidates wrong marks in this year's KCPE exam, more complainants have emerged to question the examination's integrity. On Sunday, a section of parents and the affected candidates from a private school in Kitengela were at Mitihani House to air the grievances.
I believe that this is sincerely an injustice to the children of Kitengela International, as I'm holding in the placard, and also to the children, other children in this nation who are also aggrieved and might not be able to come here. So as we have started this initiative, I believe that justice should be accorded to our children.
Here, they accused NEC of dishonesty, while at the same time demanding that Monday's planned launch of Form 1 placement be stopped, failure to which they will seek legal redress.
We want some definite answers. I know they are talking about 21 days, 30 days. The selection is tomorrow. How will these guys get justice if we get the letter in 21 days? And for records, we are going to pursue all avenues, all legal avenues that are required.
Their quest to be addressed by NEC CEO David Njegere proved futile.
Officials from the council headquarters disputed claims that the CEO was holding a crisis meeting at Mitihani House. In a statement on Saturday, NEC issued a 1-month period to all those aggrieved by the results to officially present their appeals.
The issue of marks, we noticed when we checked on science, all of them scored between 55 and 56 marks. It was 54, 55, 56. Then it is repeated again, 54, 55, 56. I think that is not, it's not just a coincidence.
Joseph Wahungu actually reporting there. Now, security apparatus are investigating an incident where a man was shot dead and 9 houses torched at Marafa and Pokoma areas in Lamu West. During the Saturday night incident, several goats and chicken belonging to the deceased man were also butchered. This is more than 10 members of parliament attending a fundraising drive at Mpeketoni Redeemed Gospel Church call for peaceful coexistence among the local communities in Lamu. Let's get the details of that story.
The smoldering from these houses is an indication of the night of terror at Marafa in Lamu West Sub-County. Heavily armed assailants are said to have descended upon this village on Saturday at 7 p.m., shooting dead one man identified as John Thuo and torching several houses. In their trail of destruction, the assailants also butchered several goats and torched a motorbike.
Mbuzi zake ndizo zimechinjwa zote, kuku zimechinjwa, hata tunapata vichwa vingine huko kwa barabara ambao vimetupwa kule. Kwa hivyo tunaona wazi ya kwamba nyumba ndio hiyo imechomwa. Unakuta ya kwamba mali yake pikipiki 3 zimeshachomwa.
Wanajulishwa na nani? Jeshi wameondoka wanakuja kufamia watu. Na wanajua kila mtu jina lake. Maana wanajua boma ile inakaa watu na boma lile halina mtu. Linajua boma lile lina mzee na lile lina mama.
Security apparatus have since launched investigations into the incident and urged area residents to remain vigilant.
Wakifuatiliwa miguu yao sahi kuna unyevu wa mvua, hawawezi wakakosekana mahali wameingia. Kwa hivyo hao watu usalama ambao uko huku hata tumeanza kuwa na shaka.
Kwa hivyo security inaweza kuwa ni nzuri sana hapa, lakini hao watu wapewe njia mzuri sana ya kukimbia. Kama sasa hao watu wamekuja kufanya hiki kitendo, kama kuna barabara huku mbele yetu na hiyo ni nzuri sana imekatwa ya kukimbia magari, jeshi saa ingekuwa imekaba kila mahali.
But as the locals come to terms with last night's terror events, at Mpeketoni Redeemed Gospel Church, over 10 members of parliament joined the congregation in a funds drive. Here, the legislators called for peaceful coexistence among the local communities.
Tushaambia serikali adui ni nani anayetuua. Tunataka serikali ni watume tu. Wamtoe huyo adui, hawa watoto wangu wote hawa waishi kwa amani.
Huyo mtu mchokozi. Huyo anataka kuja kuchokora wale wengine ili kuanza kuonekana ni kama kuna vita za makabila hapa. Tunasoma tumkemee.
The church was destroyed in August this year during an attack by suspected Al-Shabaab militia.
Tunasimama na jamii ambayo ni Waislamu na Wakristo na dini zote za hapa Kenya kwa sababu hapa dini zote ziko.
President William Ruto has urged Kenyans to be patient and support the government in fixing the country's economy. Now, the head of state, while speaking in a church in Kahawa West in Nairobi, said efforts are being made to turn around I beg your pardon, the state of the economy, noting that the implementation of government policies was starting to bear fruit.
Speaking at the Priesthood Fellowship Church in Kahawa West, Nairobi, President William Ruto appealed to Kenyans from all political affiliations to unite and ensure the country achieves overall prosperity.
Mungu ametujalia, ametupatia mvua. Tukapunguza gharama ya mbolea kwa wakulima wetu kutoka shilingi 7,000 mpaka shilingi 2,500. Wakulima wakafanya bidii. Leo tuko na chakula ya kutosha Kenya. Na mwaka ujao tutafanya bidii hata zaidi.
President Ruto said through unity of purpose, the government will be able to effectively reduce the cost of living and create opportunities for Kenyans.
Mbona sisi tulianza na watu wa Singapore? Mbona sisi tulianza na watu wa Korea walikuwa kama sisi? lakini wao sasa wako first world. Sisi bado tuko nyuma. Tofauti ya wao na sisi ni maamuzi ya uongozi. It is our responsibility to make sure that we create opportunities for young people in Kenya to work, and they must be deliberate.
Leaders who accompanied him urged Kenyans to be patient and allow President Ruto to implement his development agenda for the country.
Kenyans, we look for this government with a plan, and our president, because he's still there, he's still working with a plan. Sisi tunajua, tuko na faith na yeye, and he will deliver.
At the same time, President Ruto said 1 billion shillings has been allocated to Nairobi County to construct more classrooms to boost infrastructure in public schools in Nairobi.
Thank you, Joy Joanne. Now, Interior Principal Secretary Raymond Omolo has urged all Kenyans in the flood-hit areas to move to higher grounds and make it easier for evacuation and distribution of any aid needed. Now, the Principal Secretary said the government is doing everything within its means to ensure it averts loss of life, but those in affected areas must heed the call of moving into safe grounds. Omolo spoke in Bondo in Busia County during a funds drive in aid of a local church. Achola Simon with the details of that story.
As the raging floods continue to cause havoc in parts of the country, Interior Principal Secretary Raymond Omolo has urged those in affected areas to move to safer grounds, as advised by the government, in order to hasten the rescue and evacuation mission.
You listen to our government officers. You listen to the instructions so that we move to safer ground as we try to coordinate emergency efforts to support in the distribution of food, in evacuation of people who are marooned. And as we do that, as a national government, the county governments must also do their bit.
Omolo said many in the affected areas continue to stay in risky areas as they guard their belongings, making it difficult to rescue them. He also wants the county government and other non-state actors to pool their resources around the national government efforts in ensuring timely solutions are found within acceptable timelines.
The county governments must also do their bit because we serve the same people. And well-wishers and partners and non-state actors, we are also calling upon you to work together with us.
Omolo spoke as he joined Majority Leader Kimani Ichung'wah and other leaders for funds drive for a church in Bondo.
Starting with the lowest, who are the members of the county assembly, the members of parliament, the governors, and the president. They are our leaders, and we must support them, and we must allow them to deliver.
Elsewhere, leaders from Ukambani region are now calling upon the national and county government to consider erecting a spillover on the Karunga Menga Dam. This, according to leaders, will prevent overflow from the dam as the El Nino rains continue wreaking havoc across different parts in the country.
We have noticed that it does not have a spillover. So we requested that department to come back and provide a spillover.
Thank you, Achala Simon, for that report. And to some agricultural matters now, where millet farming is changing the fortunes of farmers in Busia County. The farmers are boasting of a bumper harvest owing to a shift to modern farming technologies. The farmers are also testing the waters to reap more by venturing into value addition and commercialization. Our reporter, Teresa Mutahi, examines the changing fortunes that could suffer setbacks in the wake of limited market opportunities for their produce.
Welcome to Busia County in Western Kenya. The vast lands are dotted with lush green as residents majorly invest in sugarcane farming. However, this narrative is slowly changing as some locals begin to shift towards millet farming. We begin our visit in one of the homesteads where millet farming is thriving. Here we meet Evelyn Nakungu, a mother of 5. She is preparing an array of dishes made from millet. I join her in the kitchen, where the aroma of the gum-like mixture of water and millet, referred to as ugali, fills the air. Shortly after, she shifts to making dal to cook a form of fried bread that originated from the coastal region, referred to as mandazis.
Nafanya aggregation na mimi pia ni mkulima. Nilikuja nikatrainiwa kufanya value addition.
We have undergone a lot of trainings on Wimbi. We have done a value addition on Wimbi. We can make crisps, we can make chapati, mandazi, and several other products.
With this year marked and celebrated as the International Year of Millet by the United Nations, a campaign meant to increase the awareness of the importance of millet, it explains why Evelyn and other millet farmers have shifted their focus in contributing to the country's food basket. John Ouko, the chairman of Farmer Service Center Teso South, says traditionally they produced millet by planting traditional seed varieties through a planting method known as broadcasting. He says the introduction of modern farming techniques, the advent of improved seed varieties that are resistant to pests and diseases, millet production has increased.
The idea of commercialization had not come until now, that there's much demand for the millet. That's why many farmers are coming in and they are now bringing millet production in large scale.
Henry Ojulong, a scientist and plant breeder at ICRISAT, says with increased awareness on the importance of millet and its nutritional values, there has been an increase in demand.
Reduction in rainfall in most areas means that most of the areas will not be suitable for growing other high potential cereals. So we all know that we need water to produce food. So the crops ICRISAT works with needs less of this water to produce food.
Despite the bumper harvest, the farmers say the main challenge is price stabilization and lack of adequate markets.
When it comes to pricing, we are not sure. Apart from the Ministry of Agriculture, who else is going to give us a satisfactory price?
So the farmers have kept their Wimbi. We are hoping for a better price in the future.
They are calling on the government through the Ministry of Agriculture to implement policies that would encourage millet growing.
Such a simple process, and yet within a short time, such a nutritious meal has been prepared. Teresa Mutai reporting for KBC Channel 1 from Busia County.
Thank you, Teresa Mutai. Now, the culture of silence associated with gender-based violence has led to the suffering of many women in Kenya and beyond. Now, the stigma and sometimes the social seclusion associated with it, making it even more difficult for victims to break the silence that will help break the cycle of violence in their lives. Our reporter, that is Pauline Nasimeo, interacted with some survivors who have suffered silently before taking the bold step to speak up and end the violence.
As part of the celebrations to commemorate the day, as well as mark the start of the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence, the International Association of Women in Radio and Television held a sensitization workshop on the safety of female journalists.
We are calling out for women journalists to unite and say no to violence against women and girls. There is no excuse that many media houses need to put in place those mechanisms where if you are harassed, you can be able to report and you can be able to get justice.
During the meeting, it was noted that the lead cause of attacks against female journalists was related to the content they churn out.
Lots of attacks happen because of the work the journalist is doing, the sensitive topics that she is tackling, the investigative reporting she is working in, or the conflict or the disasters area she is sent in. So it is relevant that she wouldn't have been into this position if it's not her job. So she needs that kind of protection.
The forum also noted that whereas journalists are considered gatekeepers, they too can be victims of the same.
You know, the media is in the forefront of covering gender-based violence. It should also turn the mirror on itself and realize that they can easily also fall into the trap of being violated.
In a separate event, gender rights activists were at the University of Nairobi for a roundtable discussion that culminated in the launch of Active Nairobi, a campaign to fight gender-based violence. They championed for inclusivity, the need to amplify diverse voices and create opportunities to empower women.
When women, especially young women, including young women with disability, are actively involved in policy formation and implementation, the resulting strategies are more comprehensive, resilient, and sustainable.
Finally, Bungoma, Kwale, Mombasa, and Kajiado have been identified as the top 4 counties where cases of child labor and exploitation are on the rise. According to the International Labour Organization, cases of child employment and sexual exploitation were most prevalent in agriculture-rich and coastal counties, respectively.
Communities, especially vulnerable households that are sending their children to work early. As you may know, it is illegal to employ an underage child.
The theme for the 16 days of activism is Unite, Invest to Prevent Violence Against Women and Girls.
Thank you, Pauline Nasimio. Now to counties where the Nairobi County government now says that the county inspectorates and askaris have been working within the mandate to restore order in the capital. This comes amid public uproar on alleged harassment of hawkers in the central business district. Now the county government has instead called upon the general public to familiarize themselves with the existing bylaws that govern hawking in the CBD. Our reporter Bradley Agutu with the county's news roundup.
Speaking during a Thanksgiving service at KICC, Nairobi County Governor Johnson Sakaja said that the county's inspectorate have a key role in restoring order in the city. He, however, cautioned rogue elements in the sector who take advantage of their mandate and harass hawkers.
I support you because you are returning dignity. But as we return order, let us respect these people. They are our bosses, they are our customers. Tutazidi kufanya training, tutazidi kufanya reforms ya customer service, but let nobody put you down.
Elsewhere in Mombasa, Changamwe MP Omar Mwinyi has forged education and sports partnership with international universities based in South Africa and Russia as a move to foster international academic partnership.
So tuataka tutumie hiyo fursa. Tuangalie kama tunao wanafunzi ambao ni wazuri, tuwapeleke waende wafanye nini? Waende wakasome kule.
Meanwhile, hundreds of people turned up at Mitungu Primary School in Imenti, South Meru County for a free medical camp organized by the Meru County government in partnership with M-Pesa Foundation and Zuri Health.
And the reason is to bring healthcare, affordable healthcare closer to the people. And it's part of what we believe in as a Safaricom, as the foundation, and Safaricom as a business.
We have different stations, so you can get a general doctor consultations. You can get screened for diabetes, hypertension as part of the NCD program. There's also the Ramka initiative, which supports the cancer screening, family planning section, as well as the fistula screening.
Western region has been cited as an area with a high number of residents still wallowing in poverty, with a few resources that could uplift the lives of residents. And women in Laikipia County have embarked on an initiative that will see them rehabilitate bare grazing land to address insufficient pasture.
Sasa wakati RNT waliingia na naibunga hapa, at least tulipata mafunzo na ndio tukaona saa hii venye tumepanda hizi tulikuwa na ujuzi kwa sababu tulikuwa tumefunzwa, tumeingishwa darasa kama wamama kwa sababu kama RNT ama naibunga hapa walikuwa wameona tuko wamama wa kujitolea.
Finally, Nandi County Executive Committee members have been sworn into office a week after the High Court in Eldoret suspended their appointment.
I didn't want to extend the fight for a very long time. We just needed, if this vetting they wanted, we have done the vetting and the process is complete. We can now hit the road running. So that is why I'm saying that was wasteful, completely unnecessary. But nonetheless, we are here now. We have to recover the lost time.
On that note, let's take the much needed break. I'll be back with more, including sports.
The stage is set for a showcase of young talents as Kenya hosts the Sekafa Under-18 Championship from the 25th of November to 8th of December in Kisumu and Kakamega. Kenya, Sudan, Rwanda, Somalia, Zanzibar, South Sudan and Uganda are battling for the title in the 2-week tournament. The group phase matches are scheduled 25th of November to 1st of December. Then the semi-finals will be played on 5th of December and the final on 8th of December, all in Kisumu. Catch the matches live on KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
Auntie akona ka forehead. Akona the mark of quality.
Ameke ram denelam shetan over.
Nataka kumaliza mambo hiyo wedding.
Kwanza kiukia kitu kia Beatrix. Rosi Paul. Umenimaliza kama chai kwa kikombe. Mezi zote zimebaki December, September, October.
Wanaona, I know my Israel.
Ni kama tu nikuje nikwambie uko na kichwa kubwa. Sasa makosa
si au sio? Ndio manake. Okay.
Every Monday from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. on KBC Channel 1.
Technology has become a crucial part of our society. Without technological advancements, so much of our everyday lives would be drastically different. As technology develops, it strives to fulfill the changing needs of society. This means that technology exists to help us achieve the things that we wouldn't be able to achieve without it. Take on Tech looks at the advantages and downside of technological innovation in a world that is becoming increasingly dependent on new digital technologies. Every Monday at 10:30 p.m. It's a cocktail of emotions, the puns that cracks up the family, greed that yields power, and a hunger for success. Friends turn to foes. Survival for the fittest is the drive.
Who are we blackmailing?
But nothing beats the feud in a family where one disappears and another fights for the crown.
It was not supposed to go this far.
It's the desire to succeed that keeps us going, the deception that keeps us digging, and the laughter pill that keeps us living.
Thank you for staying with us. We now look at sports, where Cabinet Secretary for Sports, that is Ababu Namwamba, urged Junior Stars FC to compete to the best of their abilities in the ongoing Sekafa Under-18 tournament in Kisumu. The team started the tournament on a high note, beating Sudan 5-0 in their Group A opening match.
Ababu Namwamba, who was flagged by Sports PS engineer Peter Tum and Kisumu Governor Professor Nyang' Nyong'o, spoke to the team in the back room after humiliating Sudan 5-0 in the opening Group A match played at Jomo Kenyatta Stadium in Kisumu. He said the government will fully support the team in their quest to become the Harambee Stars of the future.
I want you to know that you are the future of Kenyan football. Wherever it is you are playing, you should know that we are supporting you 100%. We want to keep this team together so that you keep improving it, because this is the Harambee Stars of the future.
We are going to work together with FK and CAF to ensure that you guys are okay in terms of welfare and all these things. Ours is just to make sure that we motivate you so that we scale more heights.
Kenya now leads Group A with 3 points, ahead of Rwanda, who beat Somalia 1-0 on goal difference.
I was completely taken
by your style and your determination. And it showed by the number of goals you scored. I mean, that alone, when it goes to the newspapers tomorrow, other teams who have not played you, they're going to prepare like hell. So the next game, I must tell you, we'll have learned from this one.
In today's matches, Zanzibar came out strong, beating South Sudan 1-0 in a thrilling match that was held at Bukungu Stadium in Kakamega.
Anafanyaje? Anaipiga kule! Waranza Uganda kupekecha huko.
Tanzania thrashed Uganda 1-0 in the second match of the day that was played at the same venue. The tournament takes a break tomorrow and will resume on Tuesday with 2 matches on card. Junior Stars will face Rwanda in the second Group A game at Mamboleo Stadium in Kisumu, while Somalia will play Sudan at the same venue. All semi-final matches and final will be played in Kisumu.
Sharif Wilson.
To some boxing news now, where the National Amateur Kickboxing Trials, which attracted more than 15 teams from across the country, came to a close yesterday in Nakuru. Kenya Boxing Federation will use the event to select the national team and also nurture budding talent.
The event, according to KBF President Japheth Yahuma, is being used to select the national team and nurture budding talent in the sport. The event is featuring more than 15 teams from Mombasa, Kisumu, Nairobi, Kiambu and Nakuru counties are participating, and they are targeting more than international tournaments to gear up for the 2024 Paris Olympics. Yahuma said that they have not been able to honor most of the assignments due to lack of funds. 20 players, 12 men and 8 women are expected to select to join the national team. Elsewhere, Shikendo FC are the winners of the Alan Chesang Super Cup after beating Bwai FC in the final match, played at the Kitale National Polytechnic in Kitale, Trans Nzoia County. In the ladies category, Kenya Secondary School Sports Association national reigning champions Weyeta Girls emerged the winners after beating Young Starlets in the final. The tournament, which was sponsored by the county senator Alan Chesang, began on 9th of last month and has attracted over 9,000 players drawn from 450 teams in the county.
Well, that news brings us to the end of the bulletin this morning. Thank you so much for taking the time to start your day with us here on Good Morning Kenya. You can be rest assured we'll be keeping you abreast with more news within the day, including the fact that the floods are still causing havoc across the country. That is a particular report that we'll be keeping tabs on, including politics, sports, and even business. I want to leave you with a particular story. You know, when you talk about gender-based violence, we only think about women. But Scars to Strength is a story about Samuel Mbethi, who was only 20 years old when he met and fell in love with his then girlfriend, but the love was not to last. A victim of gender-based violence, that is GBV, Samuel has been seeking corrective surgery to treat scars he suffered when his girlfriend set him on fire. Well, I caught up with him at the Da Vinci Hospital in Nairobi as he prepared to undergo surgery to correct complications of the burns he suffered. Here is the story of Samuel Mbethi. Mbethi arrives at the Da Vinci Hospital in Nairobi. It will be his 6th surgery to correct burn injuries around his neck. Dr. Alex Gonga is one of the plastic surgeons who will be performing the corrective surgery.
But how are you feeling otherwise for the procedure? So the previous...
Samuel developed contractures around his neck. This is one of the complications of burns, which occurs when the scars mature, thickens, and tightens the skin.
Very common complication that we see, contractures in any region that you can think of, the neck region, through the elbow, the axilla.
But before the surgery, Samuel undergoes medical checkups, a routine he's repeated many times since the fateful day 11 years ago when his girlfriend almost ended his life by dousing him in paraffin and setting him alight.
The first thing when she poured the paraffin, iliniingia kwa macho. So I felt that irritation. So nikatupa mkono nikashika, I think it was a towel or just a sweater, I can't remember well because I used to wear clothes along, I used to live in a single room. So ile dalili najipanguza kwa macho, that is the moment now she managed to lead.
While fighting for his life at a hospital, his ex-girlfriend was arrested but later set free.
While I'd written to the court that I'm hospitalized, I cannot actually come out and really air out the issue.
Today's surgery is a delicate one. It requires harvesting of the skin from his thigh.
It could be taking a piece of their skin, it could be taking a piece of healthy tissue to cover that defect. So that's all an effort to release the contracture, cover the resultant defect, and sustain that with physiotherapy.
The previous surgeries were to ensure that he gains movement of his hands.
The hands were like tight hivi, singeweza move on my own, and then the neck ilikuwa hivi. So when it was released, the hand was free to actually move. Then on this side there was not much, it was more physio and a small cut that was done on this side. And then it was able to make the hand more free.
Dealing with psychological and emotional trauma has been the hardest in his journey of seeking healing.
Started taking alcohol, became an addict. To a point of one of my cousins who really saw what was really disturbing me and started talking to me and really put everything into like an open.
A victim of gender-based violence, Samuel has come full circle.
The best revenge is just to move on with your life. Okay. Yeah.
And moving on, he has. Now a husband and a father of one, Samuel hopes today's surgery will give him a new lease of life.
What I've always been hopeful and looking into is to just have my neck free, to move freely without any restrictions. Because I find myself sometimes when I'm driving or doing an activity, I'm restricted, I have to move the whole body. Because if you can clearly see how I'm seated, the whole weight is already here. So if I have to relax my shoulders, then I have to bend a little bit so that I feel comfortable. That is the goal that I want to achieve.
Maria Ambo reporting for KBC Channel 1.
All right, welcome back. It's now 12 minutes past 7 a.m. Good morning, and thank you so much for staying with us. It's now time to head into the political segment. That is Eye on Politics. Let's talk about politics, what happened over the weekend and what we should expect moving forward. We all know what really happened as far as the bipartisan talks is concerned. And yeah, a lot is now happening. What is now the talks after the talks? That is now our main discussion today. Talks after the talks. What should we expect? The ball has been thrown to the president and opposition chief Raila Odinga to make the recommendations or make the decision in as far as this is concerned. The team concluded their mandate as was given to them by Parliament. So now today we want to take a look at really what should we expect moving forward. Some of the contentious issues like the cost of living is still a thorny issue in this report, which was not resolved. They threw the ball back to the president and ODM Raila Odinga to just make their own steps in as far as this is concerned. All right. David Dalulu is in studio with me, who is a political analyst and a governance expert, going to help me to unpack this. We're still waiting for Gibson Gesori, who is governance expert as well, and is an advocate of the High Court. David, good morning. You're well?
I'm well.
Your name is big, and you know that.
Yes,
David.
yes.
We all know who David was.
Correct.
Right? How can you relate, you in particular and David in the Bible?
We have a lot in common.
For example?
David the king.
Yes.
He came from a very humble family. I am a king in the making, so you never know, tomorrow I might change the economy.
Why? Even David did not know that he was a king in the making.
He didn't know.
He was
but
located
now,
in the grazing field.
The history has it that despite the fact that he did not know, but as fate would have it, he was located. And now that it is written in the book of history, so we know that the name carries a heavy weight. Even William Ruto did not know he would be a president some 30 years ago.
Yes.
But now he is a president, and now it goes down in the book of history that the names like Barack Obama, William Ruto, and many other people who are not known became kings. And so those of us who aspire to be like them, we want to follow the history.
You have a strong faith.
Yes, the faith is so strong.
Welcome. I hope the rain is not messing up with you, but so far, this is where we are. Okay. Before we continue, let me take you through the traffic situation. As always, we do it here. Let me take you through the traffic and check on what's happening across the city. This is what it looks like this particular morning in the CBD. Thika Road, as always, starting to look not so good. There is part of Thika Road starting all the way from KCPE University, slightly after Survey, just slightly after KCPE University, coming all the way to Pangani there. All moving not so good. It's already bumper to bumper, both the service lane and the main highway. I think there's a problem here. That also stretches towards Kiambu Road, but not so bad. I think because it's still a bit early and schools are closed, the reason why. That is coming all the way to Globe Roundabout, looking so far so good. What about that side of the city, all the way from ABC Place coming to Westlands Roundabout there, the shopping center, kila kitu iko sawa as you come towards University Way and ultimately into the CBD. That's what it looks like at this particular time of the morning. CBD largely looks okay. That is the Central Business District, looking so far so good. But don't be fooled. It's going to get pretty bad later on. Ngong Road, you have to get out of the house right now if you want to make it to work in a record time. Looking pretty fine all the way down to past Posta. Ngong Road coming all the way to City Mortuary. A bit of some traffic here just at the Desa University as you join the DOD roundabout. That is where the problem is. But all the way that is Valley Road moving fine as you come into the CBD. Finally, let's talk about Langata Road. Langata Road, good morning. So far, so good. This is what it looks like. I think because of the bypass which was constructed, and now you can either use the other side, head to Karen, or use the bypass and exit. And as well, there is that other one that passes through Kibra. I think that was one of the biggest blessings that people received. Instead of coming to Langata Road or joining Mbagathi Way, you come towards Langata Road, take this bypass, and within a record minute, you are around Ngong Road. That was a good plan. That was a good plan. All right, so that's as far as that's concerned. Mombasa Road looking pretty fine, nothing much to report about. How about we take a look at what's happening in, this must be in Mombasa. Very good. Mombasa, so far, this is what it looks like. Nyali Road, okay. Until you come towards Kongoya Market, again, not that bad. After coming to Nyali Bridge, New Nyali Bridge, also looking sawa. Mombasa, habari za asubuhi. So far, that side looking okay. All the way from that side of Makupa, coming past Makupa Causeway, all the way from Mariakani, Kibarani, all the way coming to the CBD. So far, looking sawa. That the situation in Mombasa. Let's go finally to the ferry crossing channel, the other side of Likoni. Always a mess because of the traffic. And this is what it looks like. People waiting for the ferry to come from the other side of the island to have their way. Mamangina Waterfront, always a very good view. David, have you ever known that people do not pay fare at the ferry?
I didn't know until recently. I went there and I was carrying my 100 shillings to pay, and then I realized you just cross and go without paying anything. It really surprised me.
Something should be done.
I think Zakayo should look into that.
Something should be done. People do not pay fare or whichever it is at the ferry.
Yeah.
I mean, look at that. They don't pay anywhere. People pay for transport or fare as they cross, but with the Likoni, they don't pay. And that thing carries lorries, vehicles, and people in their thousands. Nobody pays for fare. I hope so. Nobody's listening to this. David, you are the one who said you are there and nobody paid.
Yeah, I was there actually. Me, I was surprised. I carried my transport.
Right.
Only to cross, and I'm told nobody pays here. You just cross. And when you want to, you can cross as many times. You can go to the other side and come back as many times as possible.
I would imagine how it would look like when they want to charge fare, because it's always a rush. It takes like a minute or two, then it crosses the other side. So who is going to take that? And between a minute, again 3 minutes, it's already taking that turn and the other side.
There'll be a lot of order. The moment they start charging, even the traffic will drop, because there are many people who come from the other side who are coming to Mamangina front to just sit. They're doing nothing, and there are people who are crossing from this other side going there just for fun. So you realize that people will have to choose between having some chapati madondo and paying the ferry fare.
And someone said, unajua Kenya kweli, some people would even swim. Instead of paying that fare, somebody would even decide to swim. Okay, let's cross over to Kisumu finally. Kisumu, I hope nobody listened to that. Don't charge fares at the ferry, kindly. All right, so that's what it looks like in Kisumu. So far, so good. Looking all the way Kakamega Road, coming down to Kondela Roundabout into the CBD, looking pretty fine. That's what it looks like. Heading towards the Kisumu International Airport, past that side, heading to Maseno University, looking okay. And also towards Ahero, outside Kisumu County, also looking pretty fine. Please talk to us on our social media. This is X, also known as Twitter. You can also tell us where you're watching from and what is the traffic situation. This is courtesy of MA3 Route. You can also talk to us on our social media handles at Victor Ulo, and this is at KBC Channel 1. So please talk to us on our X handle and we'll sample some of your comments and where you are watching us from. Okay, this is where we are this particular morning. So whatever is happening, there's a question there. People are asking questions, but so far so good. We are going about our business. This is where we are. All right. Okay, so let's come back home and take a look at what we have on the front page of our local dailies. David, starting with the front page of the People Daily. Tough times push 70,000 out of jobs. Tough times push 70,000 out of jobs. The employers have been shedding workers in last 1 year as they grapple with the high cost of doing business. And so far, over 40% say that they expect to trim their workforce further. That is what is here. And according to FKE CEO Jacqueline Mogo, she said, and let me quote, "We are in a situation where businesses are not able to meet their operational costs." This is not something new. David, perhaps it was just a matter of time before we received this report on the front page. What do you make of this?
I know we've been having serious issues since the COVID-19. And many Kenyans will remember when COVID came, there came a scenario where people had to either choose between taking a half pay or quitting job or something of that kind. And since after COVID, I think we've been struggling to recover. We've been struggling to get things going. I am an entrepreneur myself, and I know things haven't been easy for employers. It is discouraging, yes, but we have to deal with the new norm. Because the fact remains, if I'm not doing well, if I can't handle to pay many people in my company, I'll have to lay off a few so that I can only keep that number that I can maintain. So yes, there are tough times ahead, but I think it's about time also Kenyans start looking into other options besides just looking for employment. We can also create employment in our own way. One of the things that I started doing after COVID-19 came, I became a farmer. So I went to farm, and it is also paying me well. So it is tough. It is not looking good, yes. But when we find ourselves in a difficult situation, do we stay there and complain, or we find an alternative? I think it's about time Kenyans started looking for alternative, and we keep the country moving. It is not a Kenyan challenge. It is a global challenge.
It's a global challenge.
I have friends from the States who have told me things are worse than we anticipate. We look at here, but you see, everybody would only cry for or about the problems they're in. But this is a real challenge, and something must be done. And the fortunate or unfortunate part of it is that the government will not do anything about it. We have to do something about it. Yes.
Absolutely. All right. Form 1 selection starts today, and this amid some of the hue and cry from some of the students who said that they did not receive the marks that they probably thought they would get, some of the anomalies which were registered during the previous examination. But that's notwithstanding, Form 1 selection starts today. And next says that if there is any problem that you've encountered, please write to them and they will resolve that. Azimio leaders protest as talks team differs on critical clauses. That is a story that we'll be taking a look later on, talks after the talks. That is Martha Karua among the politicians who have hit out at lack of consensus as Raila calls for patience. He spoke about that yesterday. You want to chime on that briefly?
Yes. You know, we are finding ourselves in a very interesting times in our political scene. I am glad that Raila Odinga has asked calm and patience in his camp, because I think if there is a problem, the problem is on that side. This other side of the government, there might not be a lot of problem because the government has been in place for 1 year now.
Yes.
And it will continue being there until 2027. So I know it is going to be very tricky because everybody has their own expectations. I have actively participated in political engagements in this country. And I know every politician has their own expectation. And if they are not met, there would be a lot of noise, there will be a lot of shouting. But the truth be told, I think we are now at that point where we need to rejoice as a country. I think we are making a good progress.
Yeah.
And if things go as they look right now, I think Kenya is going to be a better place.
Kenya is going to be a better place. Nick, if you have complaints, please write to us. This, despite the fact that the examinations did not, some of the students complained of anomalies, and now the examining body says that if you have a problem, please write to them. This amidst some of the complaints and one of the placement for more than 1.4 million candidates whose results were released Thursday start today and will run for 2 weeks, according to the Education Cabinet Secretary Ezekiel Machogu. But that is, as far as that is concerned, perhaps something should be done, because if you are giving students marks that they did not deserve, I would imagine if somebody, for instance, some of the students were complaining that they were almost clocking 400 marks during their regular school period. But then now, when it comes to examination, you find somebody getting lower marks, 390 or 380 something. What would you make of that? Perhaps, is it a form of marking, or there is a way the regulator or during marking, examinations is being regulated to scale down the number of students? I don't know what's make of this.
Surprisingly, personally, I've ever been affected with such a situation. When I did my KCPE exams, I didn't get my expected result. And when I followed it up, I was told the same thing they're saying, write to us and we shall resolve this. I think there is a problem with Kenyan marking examination system at large. Because one, we have somebody who sits somewhere and decides, since we have this group doing so well, they might have cheated or they might have done something that isn't good. And somebody decides we either should trim these marks, or we should cap it at this point, or we should go this direction. So something needs to be done.
Is it deliberate?
It is. I feel it is deliberate, because if somebody has given their best, I can imagine a student who has been pushing hard for 4 years, only to get for 8 years, and only to get to the examination, and then you realize that the results you are receiving are actually not your actual results.
Yes.
You've been given either results for somebody else, or somebody has decided if we give these points, then it might look like
in this
they
case,
have
a student was given marks for sign language.
Yes,
and
they didn't do it.
Exactly, they don't do sign language. So you'd imagine where the anomaly came from.
This is. I feel this is deliberate. This is either somebody is doing this deliberate to hurt another person, or somebody doesn't know what exactly they need to be doing. Because, like I said, this has affected me personally, and I know of a few people who have been through this. It is so painful. it is so embarrassing that even if they say you follow it up, nothing much might be done. They'll end up telling you go to the court and the court will do this and that. And since many Kenyans and these children, most of them have no access to this justice system you're talking about, they end up losing everything like that. And then we just go, they'll tell we absorb you, we shall work it around and we shall dissolve.
Before you
and
need, you're done with your Form 4.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
and that's happening. ACK Archbishop Jackson Ole-Sapito also said that the government should resolve KCPE exam anomalies very fast because it's an indication of the shortcomings. That is according to the ACK Archbishop Jackson Ole-Sapito. So let's take a break at that particular point. When we come back, we are going to continue with more of the discussion. And Wakili Gibson Gesori is also in studio. He'll tell us what marks he received in Class 8 years ago. Let's take a break. We'll be right back.
The stage is set for a showcase of young talents as Kenya hosts the CECAFA Under-18 Championship from the 25th of November to 8th of December in Kisumu and Kakamega. Kenya, Sudan, Rwanda, Somalia, Zanzibar, South Sudan and Uganda are battling for the title in the two-week tournament. The group phase matches are scheduled 25th of November to 1st of December. Then the semi-finals will be played on 5th of December and the final on 8th of December, all in Kisumu. Catch the matches live on KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
Itakuaje? Oya, 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 oya.
Auntie akona ka forehead. Akona the mark of quality.
Ameke ram dinelo mshetani over.
Nataka kumaliza mambo hiyo wedding.
Kwanza kiongea kitu kiambia diriki sana. Rosi Paul.
Umenimaliza kama chai kwa kikombe.
Mezi zote zimebaki December, September, October. Wanaona, I know my Israel.
Ni kama tu nikuje nikwambie uko na kichwa kubwa. Sasa makosa
si au sio? Ndio manake. Okay.
Every Monday from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. on KBC Channel 1.
Technology has become a crucial part of our society. Without technological advancements, so much of our everyday lives would be drastically different. As technology develops, it strives to fulfill the changing needs of society. This means that technology exists to help us achieve the things that we wouldn't be able to achieve without it. Take on Tech looks at the advantages and downside of technological innovation in a world that is becoming increasingly dependent on new digital technologies. Every Monday at 10:30 p.m. It's a cocktail of emotions, the puns that cracks up the family, greed that yields power, and a hunger for success. Friends turn to foes. Survival for the fittest is the drive.
Who are we blackmailing?
But nothing beats the feud in a family where one disappears and another fights for the crown.
It was not supposed to go this far.
It's the desire to succeed that keeps us going, the deception that keeps us digging, and the laughter pill that keeps us living.
From the dawn of independence to the present day, Kenya has journeyed with strength and determination. We celebrate Kenya at 60. As we mark this incredible milestone, KBC and Jamboree present an unforgettable celebration of culture, music, and awareness. Immerse yourself in a musical journey featuring global sensations like the mighty Itals and Everton Blender, all the way from Kingston, Jamaica, along with our incredible homegrown artists. But it's not just about the music. Join us for a day of cancer awareness with free cancer screenings. In addition, we will have a fun-filled family day, including horse riding, bouncing castles for the kids, and a special tree planting exercise. Save the dates as we tour a county near you. Ticket information is available on our social media handles at Jamboree Festival KRE. Join the celebration, feel the rhythm, and make memories that will last a lifetime. Happy birthday, Kenya.
All right, welcome back, and thank you so much for staying with us. It's time for Iron Politics. Welcome back. David in studio said that he's seeing some good future ahead of him, the biblical David in the Bible. I don't know how this is going to pan out. It's interesting, David, but please, if something happens, do not forget me in your kingdom.
I will not.
That is an plea. Wakili Gibson Gesore, karibu sana to the program.
Thank you, thank you.
Karibu sana. We're just taking a look at what we have on the front page very quickly for the benefit of you getting also to that. Tough times push 70,000 out of jobs. That's according to FKE. He says, FKE says that there's because of economic challenge, and now employers have been shedding workers in last 1 year as they grapple with high cost of doing business. And so far, over 40% say they expect to trim their workforces further. We thought that we were trying to heal from the post-COVID pandemic and whatever people faced. A lot of business closed shop, no doubt about that. That was global. But then now, we thought they were going to have some fresh air out of this. But it seems the bad smell is not going away from us.
It's not, Victor, and it's very unfortunate for this country.
Yeah.
Because you look at the situation, especially with the flooding, even before we come to the shedding of jobs, the flooding is really affecting people. There are whole towns underwater, suffering, and nobody's, Red Cross does not have the capacity. I'm not seeing the Ministry of Internal Security or the government do much to help these people. But so the PS internal is telling these people, you know, the best you can do right now is if you are in a town which is underwater, run to the hills and stay there so that we can evacuate you from the hills. But imagine these are all town underwater. Yeah. There could be no hill around. So you can imagine that these people are totally marooned. Their lives have been destroyed. I mean, it's not only in Kenya that these floods are happening, as even in Saudi Arabia, even camels being swept away by water in the desert. So the situation is getting worse in the region. I think this is something we ought to have been prepared better. Because we expected it. But now being caught off guard while we expected it, it really calls for concerted effort, calls for government to always be on the lookout and watchful for issues like this so that they can be able to mitigate them in good time. So that they can be, there are early warning signs which people should be warned that, you know, water is going to be coming these sides, kindly make arrangements. You know, with such a communication, especially from government officials, somebody is well prepared and actually knows what they are expected to do.
Yeah.
Not that when they are underwater is when you are telling them swim away to the hills, and that is not a very good way. Coming to the issue of the economy, which we have just talked about, we do expect that this economy should be able to pick up. And that is the hope we have been sold right from before elections when the campaigns were ongoing. But seemingly that script has continuously kept changing. And the reality on the ground has also been shifting very fast. We had COVID, which of course everybody expected that challenges were there. But now we are sinking back to the position when COVID was happening, and for no clear reason. But for Kenya, it's very clear is because that we had an election, and then we have very poor management of our finances. What we should be expecting now is government engaging in stimulus package, especially to lift to give some package to industries which have employed people, and to, of course, encourage more employment. But instead, government is going on with a very hard kick to ensure that they collect every penny which is on offer, and even which is not even on offer, which is in people's pocket. So it's like they usually say they are robbing everybody blind. So when such a situation happens, especially to the manufacturers, the best thing they do is they find out very wise means of managing. They fire staff, they register their companies, they move them from Kenya to tax havens where they are not going to be taxed. So a company is based in Kenya, as their plant in Kenya, but they register in a tax haven where they will not be entitled to pay some certain taxes. And that, of course, makes Kenya lose, and it loses big time. So some of the things I expect the government to initiate very concise discussions with the FKE and anybody who employs to ensure that they get some certain benefits, to get some certain waivers, so that they retain these people on the job. Because if this trend continues for some time, we are going to have so many people who are jobless, and you know that is a very big risk to the economy, because these people will either be thieves, will end up being in the streets. Just I think last week I was along Parliament Road, and it was around 7 at night, and I saw somebody on a boda trying to snatch a phone from a person who was a passenger who was moving back. So that tells you that even in the CBD, you do not expect at Parliament Road to have such a mugging. I was shocked.
That's like a barracks.
Yes, it's that bad, and this is going to continue. We have this situation, so something we need to work around.
Gentlemen, I'm going to pass the 3 pages because the 3 papers, but very quickly for the benefit. Okay, I don't know what my Kamba friend will tell me. Benefit. Okay. All right. So let's talk about what's on the front page of the Daily Nation. Talks report split Azimio. President William Ruto has welcomed the findings of the team. And so the issue here is the cost of living. A day after the bipartisan talks team set up by President William Ruto and opposition chief Raila Odinga presented its recommendations, divisions have erupted in Mr. Odinga's Azimio camp, with the NAC Kenya leader Martha Karua and DAP Kenya's Eugene Wamalwa rejecting the report and the proposals for failing to tackle the high cost of living. That is also on the front page of the Daily Nation as we speak. That is, we have got former President Uhuru Kenyatta, Martha Karua, Eugene Wamalwa, Raila Odinga, and finally Kalonzo Musyoka. And it says that the Daily Nation alleges that there was a plot by former President Uhuru Kenyatta, who is also the Azimio Council chairman, who is said to have made attempts to scuttle the talks, calling 2 meetings of the party's leading lights in Nairobi. That is what's here on the front page, as well as Odinga said that he has not read the report. And he said that he will give his promise to comment on it once he has read it. He spoke about it yesterday. Floods, Ruto to chair emergency cabinet meeting today as heavy rains wreak havoc countrywide. Gentlemen, I just want you to talk about this issue of the floods. Let's save this because it's also, again, on the front page of the Standard newspaper and the front page of the Standard newspaper. But as far as this is concerned, pretty fast, let me take you through the front page of the Star. Hot potato, hot potato, all right? Talks team okays 2022 polls audit. That is what's on the front page of the Star newspaper. Hot potato, talks team okays 2022 poll audit. That is what we have here. We have got President says that he's going to actually make use and actually is going to take care of everything, that all the recommendations that were given by the team. And Azimio team leader Raila Odinga says that he is not yet read that particular report. He will give his stand on it later on. And finally, on the front page of the Standard, dialogues report clash. Almost the same thing. Whereas the president says that he will push for full implementation, some in his camp think that it's too expensive. The Azimio side is also split, with Martha Karua dismissing it. Now this is where the problem is. So who is going to blink first? President said, and I quote, all recommendations made by the bipartisan dialogue team are practical and good for the country. That is the president. He said that yesterday. What about Martha Karua? Any purported agreement that does not immediately impact on cost of living, electoral justice, and respect for multi-party democracy is a fraud. Gentlemen, I'm going to clamp up these 3 headlines in one, and you give me your point of it, starting with David. David, dialogue team clash, hot potato, talks team, okay, 22 polls, and talks report splits Azimio. Go, David.
Thank you so much. From the beginning of this, we saw and we could predict who is for and who is against the bipartisan deal, because it's not a lie, it's not a secret that there is a government in place. And for some reason, we have forces who feel aggrieved that this government is in place. And so, by the start of the bipartisan talks, we probably could have, we might have seen some factors feeling uncomfortable even starting the conversation. We saw the former Ndaragwa MP, Jeremiah Kioni, say these talks are useless. They are doing nothing important. So getting these infights, especially in Azimio camp, it will tell you that there were expectations, yes. There are people who are anticipating for something much better than what is being offered. But truth be told, you'd realize that possibly most of what is in this report is what the government, the Kenya Kwanza team wanted. Because one, there has been a recommendation to create the office, to have it enshrined in the constitution, the office of the Prime Cabinet Secretary. And we all know that even before the talk started, the government had already created that post somehow. So it was needed. The Kenya Kwanza side needed that so much. Number two, even way before election, President Ruto, back then as a candidate, promised and said he would do everything possible to ensure that the person that loses in election gets a place as official opposition leader. And he was pushing so much for this to happen. And so getting this recommended for consideration by Parliament, again, I think it's a plus to Kenya Kwanza team. What I think, maybe I was just smiling, I was thinking, the poor ask, the Kenyans, who always clap for these bigwigs politicians when they are calling for demos and everything. We always end up being left outside and watching as things unravel, because now we have recommendation of creating office of opposition, official opposition leader, and 2 deputies, meaning the former prime minister will, if he accepts that is, and if it is passed in law, he becomes the official opposition leader. And then Martha Karua and Kalonzo Musyoka become his 2 deputies, and the rest left there to wait for 2027. So then you realize that we still have a problem of politics of deceit in Kenya, where we all rally behind someone and encourage, support them, but when there comes time for eating, wanakula wao sisi tukimeza mate. So the problem is that we have this, it is as good as sorted, and I'm telling you, you can watch this. It is going to be passed, this one, and it's going to work, because that is what they wanted. The rest of the things, election audit, expanding the the committee that is recruiting IBC from 7 to 9. I don't think that has a lot of impact on us. We might not even benefit from it in any way. So you realize that the only thing that I see has happened here is increasing, giving senators money for oversight, MCS getting World Development Fund, NGCDF being enshrined in Constitution. You see, all these things were anticipated, but it is to whose advantage?
To whose advantage?
You realize that the big question is to whose advantage?
Yeah.
That is it.
I'm just trying to imagine the office of the opposition leader already in place. It's part of the recommendation. So what is it going to play more in terms of the political achievement, leave alone an individual? How is it going to change the political landscape? It's now office, it's now enshrined in the Constitution, it's in black and white. So how is it going to change the political landscape moving forward? Wakili?
Victor, it is going to change. Fundamentally, you realize we ended up at the National Dialogues Committee stage when we had a lot of demonstrations on the streets. What essentially this means is we want to sanitize our elections. So we want to sanitize our politics by having a proper and structured manner of us engaging politically. So the political contest is now going to be moved from the streets to the two parliaments.
Yes.
Whereby we have going, because you have, for example, as Alulu suggests, I don't know what makes him think that is going to be the structure, is that once we have the former Prime Minister, the former Vice President Kalonzo Musyoka and Martha Karua being taken up, or whoever else who might be selected, then essentially these people will be government officials because they will be sitting government opposition. They will be speaking in terms of opposition in parliament. So essentially the structured way of discussion will be able to happen within those ranks. And
okay, your mic has a problem. Let me just fix that pretty fast. Okay, as we do that, let me take you through the front page of our international papers. Let me start with the BBC. This is what's on the front page of the BBC. Here we have it. Part of 4-year-old girl among released Israeli hostages. That is what you have here. And now Hamas and Israel are now coming. Israel Gaza, 4-year-old girl among girl released hostages, and it's happening. It just members of different communities and actually different governments now are coming into making sure that hostages are freed. This is what's happening here, and allow me to just cross over that very fast. Part of the celebrations happening there, and of course White House also said that they need these issues to be resolved amicably. President Joe Biden Sunday said that hostages released were the result of intensive U.S. diplomacy. U.S. said that it also has some hand there, adding that he was hopeful that more American hostages will be released in the coming days. 14 of the 17 hostages were Israeli and 3 of them were Thai nationals. 9 of the Israelis were children. So this is so far what is happening on the front page of the BBC. Very fast, let me come back home to, that is UK. Okay, let's come back home. Hopes Israeli-Hamas truce could be extended. This is what's there. And so far, this is what's happening. Hopes that Israeli-Hamas truce could be extended. It's about tears and hue and cry with so many families over there trying to get their families back home, and that is exactly what's happening. So, Released Palestinian describes Israeli detention as humiliating. Most of those people cannot stand that particular part. That is what we have. What about... Okay, let's go to France 24. What do you have on the front page of France 24? Almost the same thing. Israel says the 17 hostages, 39 Palestinians freed under truce deal. This is what you have. There we go. 17. There we have it. Israel said on Sunday that 17 hostages and 39 Palestinian detainees had been released in a third round of hostage for prisoner swaps on day 3 of fragile 4-day truce between Israel and Palestinian militant group Hamas. The news comes after Hamas armed wing announced that the death of its top commander in northern Gaza, Ahmed al-Gandour, the group's highest-ranking casualty of the war with Israel. And so far, that is what's happening. So this is on the front page of France 24. Israel says that 17 hostages, 39 Palestinians freed under truce deal. Okay, let's come back home and see what's happening in Africa. All right, back home, Sierra Leone declares nationwide curfew after attack on Freetown Army Barracks. Hey, okay, such things still happen. Attacks on barracks. This is what's happening here in Sierra Leone, because they say that when your brother's house is on fire, please, your neighbors, you have to be careful. Sierra Leone's government said that it was in full control on Sunday evening after reporting a security breach by unidentified attackers at a military armory in the capital Freetown that sparked armed clashes. Gentlemen, that is what we have on the front page. But before we continue, we see what's happening here. Let me just go back home and talk about this. David, you know the history of David, the Israelites, and how does it affect you directly? As the name suggests.
Well, we need a better coexistence.
Yes.
And much has been said about Israel-Palestine, the Hamas war. I still feel there is a need for peace because there is an innocent child in Palestine, in Gaza Strip. There is an innocent child on the other side of Israel who is being affected by all this. So like White House says, I think we need a truce and a lasting solution so that there reign peace, because if there isn't peace, then somebody is being affected.
Yeah.
And just like you say, my name connects with Israel, you'd realize no king is a happy king when your people are suffering, either under war or sickness or whatever there might be. So peace reign in Israel.
Yeah.
I don't want to say like a friend once said that Israel is landless. I believe Israel is full of wealth and riches, but then they should try as much as possible to embrace that much as the other brother might be having issues, it is good to remember that your brother's children are not your brother. They are children who need your protection as well. So we need peace.
Yeah. Wakili, perhaps the world didn't expect this in 2023. I mean, nobody expected this to happen.
Yeah, the war was quite sudden, and I mean, it caught somebody like me off guard, because I don't imagine how Israel could have been caught off guard to the level that they could be able to suffer casualties the way they did. But then that is what it is, and now we are in a position whereby a lot of people have suffered. As David says, that we need peace, and we need peace like yesterday. All we need is concerted efforts for countries around the world to ensure that, to look into the situation keenly and stop pointing fingers, rather opt for reconciliatory messages which are going to ensure that we're going to have lasting peace in the Gaza Strip, and Israel and Palestine can coexist as two states. See, as it stands, the challenge there is that Israel does not recognize Palestine as a state, and many countries around the world do not. Even the United General, I don't think they have ratified the truce. But the recommendations of a two-state nation, which should be followed through to ensure that there is coexistence of peace. When you have a neighbor who is being recognized and you are considered not to exist, then you do everything that there is, whether over the book or under the book, to ensure that you make your statement known. I don't know whether the attack on Israel was part of that, but that has resulted into serious collateral damage, which we do not need to have in this era.
Okay, all right. Okay, so we're taking a break, and we come back. I'm going to tell you about this, this courtesy of my 3 route. It says that there was an accident around just slopes from flyover towards Naivasha, and this was updated around by Amakanji Thomas around an hour ago, and I say that 5 people died this early this morning, as the rest are in critical condition. This is a matatu, I think, plying that particular route. It looks so grisly. This is courtesy of Mathri route. Please talk to us and tell us what's happening. All right, I think that was not necessary though, but this scene of the accident looks like probably it probably must have hit this lorry from behind, because that area is always very slopey. As you come towards flyover, heading towards towards how do you call it? That area, De La Mare. It's always very slopey, and people tend to. Yes,
that place is very dangerous.
Yeah, we have to be very careful. So far, 5 people are confirmed dead. That is according to Amakanji, but we'll need to get more information. According to road safety facts, speeding, low visibility, slippery road, terrible. H200 brakes was, I don't know, this could have been avoided. Drivers, please slow down. That is according to road safety facts. I think this...
Just move that up.
Yes. This one here?
There's a comment by Dr. Bira.
All right.
That one.
This one here?
Dr. Bira, the one above.
Bira said that I made to understand that the bridge connecting Sotik Kisii Highway is flooded. That must have been 9 hours ago. But Sotik Kisii, yeah, we'll... for people who use that route a bit. Okay, so let's take a break. When we come back, we're going to get more into that, and we also talk to us and tell us what is happening across the world, across the country, wherever you are, and the situation. Please, let's be careful. It's rainy. Let's take a break. We'll be right back.
The stage is set for a showcase of young talents as Kenya hosts the CECAFA Under-18 Championship from the 25th of November to 8th of December in Kisumu and Kakamega. Kenya, Sudan, Rwanda, Somalia, Zanzibar, South Sudan and Uganda are battling for the title in the 2-week tournament. The group phase matches are scheduled 25th of November to 1st of December. Then the semi-finals will be played on 5th of December and the final on 8th of December, all in Kisumu. Catch the matches live on KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
In a world filled with uncertainty, there is one thing we can always count on: the power of compassion and generosity. Every day, families in Kenya face unimaginable challenges and hardships. They struggle to put food on the table, provide shelter for their loved ones, and access basic health care. But today, you have the power to make a difference. By just contributing 1 shilling and 50 cents from your airtime, your generosity can provide access to sanitary pads, nutritious food, clean water, education, and life-saving medical care to those who need it most. To support this cause, please tune in to your favorite radio station under the KBC umbrella for step-by-step instructions on how to subscribe. KBC Helping Hands. Together, we can make a difference and bring hope to those in need.
Itakuaje? Oya.
Auntie akona ka forehead. Akona the mark of quality.
Ameke ram denela mshetani over.
Nataka kumaliza mambo hiyo wedding.
Kwanza kiongea kitu kia Beatrix. Rosi Paul.
Umenimaliza kama chai kwa kikombe.
Mezi zote zimebaki December, September, October. Wanaona, I know my rights wala.
Ni kama tu nikuje nikwambie uko na kichwa kubwa. Sasa makosa si
au sio? Ndio manake. Okay.
Every Monday from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. on KBC Channel 1.
All right, welcome back. Okay, so let's get straight into the discussion. So what are now the talk after the talks? So the dialogue team also released their report, actually not also, released their report last week, and now everybody is now talking about it. So let's, gentlemen, allow me to ask this question. In as far as the report is concerned, one of the most important one is now the office of the official opposition leader, which David Alulu says that was long overdue. You saw it coming. But the question was, how is it going to solve the political crisis that we usually have after elections? Who is qualified to have this position? Because when you look at Azimio Brigade, we have people who are able, capable, men and women who are able to fit that crown pretty well. So let me start with you, David. Who do you think should be given this particular mantle in this office of the opposition leader?
Like Wakili was saying earlier, you'd realize that the office of the official opposition leader is a very powerful office in the Kenyan setup. And actually, it shall be funded by the exchequer. So you realize it's a very lucrative office, by the way, and it has its own powers around it. So who qualifies for this office? I think the person who contested and lost election to the sitting president, or number 2 in election, should automatically qualify as the official opposition leader. In this situation, even though Wakil is surprised that I'm saying this, but in this case, you'll realize that Raila Odinga is the most qualified because, one, he was on the ballot last election, he became second, he lost election to William Ruto, not unless he says he is not interested. And then that means it shall now be given to another person, probably who became number 3, maybe. That becomes Wajakoya. And then we see how it goes. But the person who loses election to the winner then become official opposition leader. What really surprised me is the proposal to have 2 deputies, 2 deputy opposition leaders. I don't know what that entails, but maybe it is a way of maybe getting everybody under control so that we limit the amount of noise and shoutings that come out of the opposition, because when people are idle, they shout a lot, they talk a lot of nonsense. But when people are busy doing something, they concentrate on the responsibilities that they have been given. So you'd realize that by creating this office, the government is systematically trying to get the noisy opposition to calm down and then now concentrate on opposing what is not right with the government. And me, I think I've seen Honorable Raila Odinga doing it very well. Actually, in the recent days, I don't know if it was 2 or 3 days ago, when I saw the former Prime Minister talking seriously about some things that are happening in the government. And to me, I was seeing an official opposition leader addressing the government that is probably not doing as he expects. So to me, it is a way of, number 1, getting a lot of noise down, and then number 2, getting to acknowledge that, yes, Gibson, you might have lost the election, but it does not mean you are irrelevant. You still have something that you can offer the country. And that thing that you can offer the country, why not we give you an office that you continue offering it, even though, opposition is an alternative government. Opposition is there to make sure they are checking the government, and should the government fail, this opposition can occupy the government and run the government. So to me, I think it's a good proposal. I think it should be embraced. And actually, the parliament should hurry to get this thing done so that we get it going.
Okay, when you look at that the proposals, the person who is going to be in that position as the official opposition leader will either work as per the coalition's rules and guidelines and not necessarily as per the constitution. So does it mean that you'll be there under the whim of your coalition or the party that sponsored you to be in that position? Number two, Gibson, if Azimio decides that they are going to pick anybody apart from Raila Odinga, do you think it can still play that particular role as supposed to be?
Whichever way they decide, Victor, I think it's still going to look like that is the understanding. Because if Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga is not interested and they nominate someone else, then essentially now there will be, of course, a political question, whether that is actually a legal question, whether that is correct, because it's the person who lost. So it's Raila who lost, as David Aluru has put it. What I don't agree with him is that if I lose, I've not run for any election. And if I run, I'm sure I'm going to win, not to lose. So whoever loses, the law anticipates that it's the person who's going to take that position. So the aspect of nominating someone else is a question which has to be sorted, either a legal or political question which is going to be sorted at that particular time if they decide to nominate someone else. So essentially, I think the whole architecture has been crafted in a manner to take care of the people who can really cause a lot of problems for the Kenya Kwanza government. And this is from where I stand, something I can be able to refer to as political tokenism, which is really a very wise move on the side of Kenya Kwanza to have given into that. I don't know how those discussions went when they were discussing that. Or it was just a welcome move that finally we are going to get 3 Azimio people out of the streets and we're going to put them into office where they will be answerable and benefiting from the exchequer. And you know, that really means a lot for some people, especially politicians after elections. So when we look at it, I think, as I said earlier, is that we are trying to sanitize our politics to ensure that we move from the streets. We have all the key decision makers in the opposition come to parliament so that they can be able to debate the issues, be able to raise these issues, especially the issue of the cost of living. You still realize that up to now, some leaders in the opposition are still saying they do not recognize the report because it does not handle the issue of the cost of living, which essentially even me, I felt like it not tackle anything much to solve the issues of Kenya as the situation stands. More or less, it's solving the political crisis we have. But the economic crisis, nothing to take home. Or
look at it this way. So does it mean that the president was right when he said that he's going to make sure that hakutakuwa na maandamano tena katika nchi hii? One, if David is a presidential candidate, he wins, and I, come second. So I will not have any reason to go to the street because I know my office is there, constitutionally funded by the taxpayers' money. I have a constitutional office, fully kitted, fully funded, and I know that even if I lose an election, I have an office there waiting for me. Do you think that is now the whole scenario, apart from oversight and doing the checks and balances and making government on toes? The whole aspect is to get people out of the streets once and for all. David?
Yeah, the president was, President Ruto is one smart and genius man. I love the way he makes his calculations. And this one, I think he was very right when he said he's going to make sure there is no... And the first person to actually comment on the report was President Ruto himself, when he said, I am happy the report is here. I'm going to support it. I'm going to make sure it is fully implemented. So, so this gentleman is telling you that this is what we've been waiting for, so that we can get this thing done with immediately and proceed. Maybe what I think needs to be done, there need to be some sort of order and discipline. The question you asked about the coalition and the person, you'd realize that if we go by what politics is about, you do not consider coalition a candidate. you consider an individual. Like Kenya Kwanza had one candidate in the name of William Ruto. And then Azimio also had one candidate in the name of Raila Odinga. So I don't see any sense in, for example, Azimio sitting down and say, now we need to do some sort of election to decide who is going to occupy that office. I think the law should be very clear on this one, and where there seems to be confusion, some people might want to seek a clarification on this one, so that it is well understood that the person that occupies this office should be a candidate that vied and then lost election, became second, and in a situation where second is not interested, then the third, and that's why the name Wajakoya comes in. But to make the matter worse, Wajakoya also has joined Azimio. Yes. He works with Azimio. And then the number 4 got a job in government. So eventually we have nobody to occupy that office. But in a way, it is going to help people know that even if I lost this election, I'm still going to have my office. I'm going to have some sort of powers to try and do things. Like I said earlier, opposition is an alternative government. And if it is an alternative government, whoever is occupying that office occupies knowing that there is a lot of expectation from the public and even the government, because you are now coming in to earn a salary, you are going to enjoy security, utafunguliwa barabara when there is traffic jam, those people shout with the sirens around and you pass. So official opposition leader in the making, once you know you are losing, you have no reason to complain. You have no reason even to start organizing people to go on mandamano. Because does that really snatch away your rights to complain, or if you feel that an injustice is being done to you? But you see, in this report, they have also said, so that they avoid the hurriedly hearing and determination of election petition from 14 days to 21 days.
Exactly.
That means there is still a room. If you feel aggrieved, you can still go to the Supreme Court, and then the Maraga scenario can happen, and you go back to election. If you lose the second time, then don't go back to court. Come and occupy your office.
I get it. Okay.
I think I will wish to just add to what he's saying. There's also something interesting which has been brought in there. The aspect of an independent body to be in charge of political parties, so that we do away with the office of the registrar of political parties. So essentially, some of the recommendations as I see is to administer the funds which are given to the parties who have participated in election. Essentially what that means, once the opposition takes up their official opposition party, they are going to choose their own cabinet, the shadow cabinet. So once they are given these monies, the shadow cabinet, and they will be operating like a government in waiting, save for the fact that they will not be in government. Essentially, these monies, once dispersed, the shadow ministers will be able to have a kitty to do research and to offer counter proposals or counter policies to government. So, for example, if the Minister of Agriculture is telling us we're going to get maize from Zimbabwe or Zambia, then the shadow minister should be able to come up with a better proposal, which is well researched, which can be able to counter the government. And this should be taken to Parliament for purposes of debating. Essentially, our politics, that's what I'm saying. I'm seeing a situation where politics is going to be sanitized and is going to be ideological based and policy based, as opposed to being what it is, where we have people throwing stones in the streets, jumping up and down. That does not mean that that is taken away, because that's a constitutional right equally. So that still will be practiced, but most of the issues, most of the issues, most of the issues are still going to be debated in a very structured manner. Throwing stones alone is not constitutional, but picketing and demonstration is only that our demonstrations also have an aspect of throwing stones.
Okay. Let's talk about the issue of the Senate Oversight Fund. I mean, this must be a very good point for senators, because for a very long time they say they don't have money to do oversight to the counties and what have you. But right now we have got that Ward Development Fund and NGCDF. I mean, MCAs are also a happy lot at the end of the day. David?
Yeah, I think Kenyan politics is becoming more lucrative. It's becoming more lucrative.
Somebody would say, don't shout.
And from the look of things, this will now make it even more competitive, because you see, the other day somebody was telling me, I don't know if you qualify to be a senator. I said, no, I don't want to be a senator because it doesn't have money.
Yes.
But now I can think about it.
You can fit right in.
So, creating this fund, I think, is especially for the Senate, it's called Senate what?
Oversight
Fund.
Yes.
To me, I think it's a good idea. It's a good proposal. Why? A senator is supposed to be oversighting, making sure that the resources at the county government is being utilized. But then you have a broke senator who goes to see governor, and he's expecting maybe governor to give him some cup of coffee, so they talk over these issues. But with an oversight fund in place, then the senator has the power, because constitutionally, senator is supposed to be more powerful than governor, because it is senator who determines how much money goes to the county, how is it utilized, and all this. If the county fails, the Senate has the power. Actually, we've seen the cases of Kawira Mwangaza, where when the governor fails, they are taken to the Senate, and Senate has the final say. If they save you, you are safe. If they send you home, you go home. So it is a welcome move. To me, I think it's one of the best ideas that will help make our devolved system of governance work, because now if the man who is more like a prefect of the devolution has resources, then it makes work easier for them. I have a problem with the Ward Development Fund, because it seems like now we shall be manipulating almost everything, because now we have Senate, they'll have Senate Oversight Fund. We have GAF for women reps. We have NGCDF for MPs, and now Ward Development Fund for MCS. We shall have so many manipulation. I think there need to be a clarification of what can a Ward Development Fund do, and what should NGCDF do, and what should GAF do. You see, something of that. It has not been made clearer, even from the word go, what roles these funds are playing. So much as we need these monies down there to go and work, because the welcome move is that money is going down to the people. But how are these funds going to be utilized? Is it another avenue for corruption? Is it another room for fake tenders among us, the cronies around the MCAs and the local leaders? Or how are we going to manage it? So I think we need a better clarification on how these monies shall be managed, and of most importance, how they shall serve the people.
And by and large, to avoid duplication of duties and roles for the senators, MCS and all this. Okay.
I think to just come in on what Lulu is talking about, we do have a serious constitutional challenge in these particular issues of administration of these funds. I do support the funds to the senators, because it's really needed, because sometimes I think they say that they do not have capacity to even audit a governor, because you find that there are several projects going on and they do not have resources to go and actually check which project, and then the Senate, the governors, when they come to the Senate, they come with voluminous documents, which these people are not able to, in their own capacity, to go through them and then ask proper questions for oversight. And some of the reports, I think as one of the senators was putting it, some of the reports which they are auditing are reports which are 3-4 years back. Essentially, somebody might have left office. If this fund is given to them, they can be able to actually monitor these projects as they are ongoing, and then be able to ask these governors to come and answer the questions right on the spot, instead of asking somebody who left office several years ago, or somebody to answer questions for somebody who left office. That is where they are not able to catch the corruption as it's happening. So that is, I think, something which is welcome. The challenge now comes in as to the administration of the ward fund, which is going to be issued. I hope they will have to come with very clear guidelines that the MCS will not be the people to actually be able to expend these monies. It should be given to someone else, so that the MCS just act as oversight. That will make much more sense, because we have the challenge, especially with the CDF, which has now been changed into NGCDF, but that fund still is unconstitutional as it stands, because you cannot be the person oversighting and then be the one person expending. You allocate resources to yourself so that you can be able to use them. So we allocate your resources from the National Assembly. Just before you go to the ground, the resources find you there to use them.
Yeah.
So that goes against the principle of accountability and separation of powers. So we need to find a way. The court has been able to be very clear about that, but the MPs have been always found a clever way of going around the decision of the decision of the court. And I hope Alulu, when he makes it with either of these houses, he will not be one of the people supporting it. He should be very patriotic and be able to stand and say that they cannot be able to take this NGCDF money till that fund is clearly administered. Either they take it to the governors to administer it through the ward fund or something of the sort. So that now we also talk of members of parliament receiving an oversight fund to oversight whatever projects which are happening down on the ground, so that we don't have somebody who is supposed to be checking is also the one spending. So that is something which we need to work around to make sure that we have sanity.
Okay. There's that aspect of the office of the Prime Cabinet Secretary. So where does this leave Mudavadi, so to speak? Prime Cabinet Secretary. So are we going to have two Prime Cabinet Secretaries in office, or that office of Musalia Mudavadi is now going to be fully enshrined and entrenched in the Constitution?
I don't think there is going to be another. What happened?
But this is going to be fully now rooted in the Constitution.
What is happening today, we don't have that office of the Prime Cabinet Secretary. So today, if you asked Musalia Mudavadi, who are you in this government? He's just like any other Cabinet Secretary. It is only the title.
He's actually the Minister for Foreign Affairs right now.
Yeah, that is all. Yeah. It is only that they have decorated and sugar-coated it, called it Prime and looking so superior, but in reality, there is no functions to that office constitutionally. So what Kenya Kwanza needed is now to have this enshrined in Constitution, and then the powers for Prime Cabinet Secretary probably will be like that of a Prime Minister in any other jurisdiction, and so making it now as a point of Kenya having a fully fledged Prime Minister, but now in the name of Prime Cabinet Secretary, who is more like the head boy for the rest of the cabinet ministers, which to me I think it's also a good idea. It will make the occupant of that office, because it won't be Musalia forever. It will make the occupant of that office get to know that they also have some respect across the board. Yeah. And so there isn't going to be two. It's just one who must now be enshrined in the Constitution. Yes.
We have this office of the oversight, political parties, to oversight on political parties fidelity. How is it going to play around? Because at the end of the day, when you look at the office of registered political parties, so does it mean that some of the powers are going to be snatched from that office and given now fully to that oversight office? Wakili?
I think essentially they want to either do away with that particular office so that we have an independent office which deals with the administration of the funds which are given to political parties. Because there's been a debate around that, and I think the office, if there is an office which I feel is very weak, is the office of the Registrar of Political Parties. That office needs to be emboldened. There needs to be, because there has been some challenges. That's why I think they felt that they should come up with a new office for oversight of political parties to ensure that there is also, you see, we have also a political issue. For example, when Kenya Kwanza came into government, of course they won, but they did not have the numbers.
Yes.
So we saw some other parties, even which had standing memorandums with the opposition party, still moving, even past the election, which was not supposed to be very clear. So if we are going to have an office which is going to rein in and be able to check on in terms of this, then we can be able to be sure, because when you come to power, you need to come with your numbers. You don't start amending your numbers when you have taken power. And that becomes a bit of a gray area. So I hope one of the things this independent political parties oversight is to ensure and put very clear rules that what happens in such a situation, so that we are able to actually be able to know who has the numbers and who does not have the numbers. That is one. The other issue is the administration of the monies which are dispensed to political parties. Sometimes it delays, and we don't have anybody to explain to us why it's delaying. And this is what I've said, that now it will, of course, cause challenges in terms of the opposition organizing. Remember, after elections, opposition is vanquished. They do not have the money. They do not join government so that they start getting salaries. So these monies will come in handy in terms of helping them to form a shadow cabinet immediately, to start oversighting government immediately.
Party hopping from we've seen.
Essentially, that's one of the things which is supposed to be. That's one of the roles which the oversight, I expect the oversight political parties office to actually be able to rein in on, because that is a very big challenge.
Okay, all right, let's take a break. But before that, David, someone is sending a message here, and I'm not, probably you may know him or not. He's saying that David is talking as if he's going for a political seat. Akuje tungangane naye kwa kiwa.
They have seen him coming.
They've seen you, David. They've seen you that
you can't hide in the
I think because of that statement you said that it's going to be lucrative. It is. So someone is saying that amekuona kumbali. You come, mungangane kwa kiwanja.
It is lucrative.
Let's take a break, and we come back. We're still going to continue the discussion. We still need to, to crunch those numbers. Some of the recommendations given by the Bipartisan Talks team. And the big one, they did not agree on the, high cost of living. Why? Political? Let's take a break. We'll be right back with more. Stay with us.
From the dawn of independence to the present day, Kenya has journeyed with strength and determination. We celebrate Kenya at 60. As we mark this incredible milestone, KBC and Jamboree present an unforgettable celebration of culture, music, and awareness. Immerse yourself in a musical journey featuring global sensations like the mighty Itolls and Everton Blender, all the way from Kingston, Jamaica, along with our incredible homegrown artists. But it's not just about the music. Join us for a day of cancer awareness with free cancer screenings. In addition, we will have a fun-filled family day, including horse riding, bouncing castles for the kids, and a special tree planting exercise. Save the dates as we tour a county near you. Ticket information is available on our social media handles at Jamboree Festival KRE. Join the celebration, feel the rhythm, and make memories that will last a lifetime. Happy birthday, Kenya.
Oh, Toto wapenda chipsi, wengine waletea hipsi.
Maongo.
Siko serious. Siko serious.
Koko wasiwe na akili mbanu we. Kwe kulumenu akili yako. Ke chao.
Ya 500. Yale kuku kwenda huko.
Inapunguza paka hasira. Naweza kupatia kikombe moja opoe moto.
I told you I'm the next of kin. I'm the immediate cousin of the late Mseo Juang, who was the proprietor and the CEO of this hotel.
Okay, unaweza kuwa hutaki kuolewa, roho itaki, lakini mwili inataka. Kutoka hapa.
It's a cocktail of emotions, the puns that cracks up the family, greed that yields power, and a hunger for success. Friends turn to foes. Survival for the fittest is the drive.
Who are we blackmailing?
But nothing beats the feud in a family where one disappears and another fights for the crown.
It was not supposed to go this far.
It's the desire to succeed that keeps us going, the deception that keeps us digging, and the laughter pill that keeps us living. Technology has become a crucial part of our society. Without technological advancements, so much of our everyday lives would be drastically different. As technology develops, it strives to fulfill the changing needs of society. This means that technology exists to help us achieve the things that we wouldn't be able to achieve without it. Take on Tech looks at the advantages and downside of technological innovation in a world that is becoming increasingly dependent on new digital technologies. Every Monday at 10:30 p.m.
And welcome back. Now, there's this photo here. David, what makes you guys are so happy? You look so happy here in this photo. Let me come this side so that there you go. That is David Alulu, and sorry, you look so happy, gentlemen.
Me, I'm happy because, like I said, you see, politicians are being taken care of very, very well. And Gisoro here is saying he might consider something as we move on, and that made me happy. Really happy.
In Nyamira.
Yeah, he might consider something.
Or in Kisii County.
That really makes me happy. Lakini sawa tu hata kama hakuna chai lakini it is good.
I saw that coming. All right, gentlemen, let's finalize as we come to the close of this discussion. All right, so there is that bit of the issue of electoral justice. Wakili, this one will come directly to you. To increase the number of appeal at the court of the Supreme Court.
The days.
Yeah, the days from 14 to 21. What do you really think ran through the minds of the talks team to increase the days?
Victor, that has been a debate right from the very first Supreme Court hearing we had on elections
because
in
of the
2013.
Workload.
Because of the workload and putting in place the documentation, especially on the side of the people going to file their documents. You also realize that it also becomes a challenge for the court itself, because it has very limited time to canvass through the evidence and then be able to write a proper or a well-reasoned judgment. Like in 2013, you saw the judgment came, I don't know, several days later because they were not able to write it at that particular time. There's also the challenge of filing the proper documents. Some of the documents, moving them across the country, you need a lot of resources, you need a lot of advocates. For example, to tell you where the 2017 petition succeeded, it's because the opposition was well organized, or the party which lost was well organized. They deployed advocates across the country. And you know how costly that can be, so that they can be able to be taking evidence as it happens. So you are anticipating of a challenge. You are running for an election at the same time anticipating a problem, so that you can be able to use this as evidence. So that, of course, it should not be the case. Instead of, you should be allowed to run an election and be able to expect to win. So if there are challenges of loss, it should be able to be dealt with after. But now, this is an issue where you have to go to an election, you have to have agents, and then you have to have advocates on the ground on the side who are going to of course, be able to ensure that, I'm told the Uhuru side also already had a serious legal team analyzing elections in 2013. So that's where they managed to put whatever defense they put in the court, and they ensured they have won. So, and then come 2017, the Raila side also did the same by fielding advocates to the ground so that they are well prepared. So you can see the kind of situations of distrust and preparedness which goes into this. But if you have 21 days, which is also slightly very few days, is just to allow time for filing and putting evidence in order so that you can be able to even have the court also have enough time to write a proper and well-reasoned judgment, which does it come out and everybody says, wait a minute, was this meant for this or you just imagined something? So this goes to helping the court and even the litigants to ensure that they do a good job, which at the end of the day, everybody should be satisfied.
I think this is a move that almost even the courts will agree with this one.
Yes,
the workload. You can imagine you want to get, an evidence all the way from Mandera, and you have to bring it in Nairobi in hard copies and what have you. So, Alolo, I think we just leave it at that. But the big one is now the audit of the 2022 general election, and they've agreed that they are going to do that. But is it really going to happen? I mean, it's... I'm approaching this with who is going to open the servers? Where are the servers? Are they in the cloud? Where are they? The audit of the 2022 polls.
I'm sorry to say this, but I think sometimes for things to get moving, you have to say yes, so that you agree and start moving. It might take time. Even if it would happen, maybe it might take time because there are a few other things that needs to be done to actualize that need of opening the servers and checking whatever it is that the opposition want to check. But moving forward, I think it is also important to know that where politicians are sitting, it is hard for people to just have a clear consensus on something. Somebody will try to find a reason to make things complicated for the other. So let's see how it goes, but I really don't see a scenario where we are going to see many people going to anniversary towers tomorrow for the servers to be open or something done. It might take some time, and probably there are some few legal factors, because actually during the petition, during the presidential petitions last time, they were given access to servers, but then there came a letter which said you can only be given limited access, and they gave their own reasons. Then it means for that to happen again, there is an aspect of law, the legal part of it. How is it going to be covered and how it shall be taken care of? So it requires patience, it requires dedication, and above all, Kenya is a political country, anything is possible.
Now that you're still there, I want you to give me your final remarks because you're coming to a close. But the big issue, I wish we had enough time to go through all of them, but the issue is the cost of living. They differed on VAT and the issue of, that's from 16 to 8%. They did not agree on that. And then lastly, to scrap the controversial housing levy in totality. They did not agree on that. Just as your closing remarks as you come toward that, then Wakili, you'll complete that for me.
I think the Kenya Kwanza team was very categorical and very clear from the word go when the opposition started saying we will not sign if there is no cost of living, if this and this happens. I remember the majority leader for Senate, Cheruiyot, saying things that you cannot touch. Number one, housing levy. That one, you will not touch even if you want. So, that was sending a very strong signal. But again, to me, I don't think this team was serious about the cost of living. I'm sorry to say that. I don't think the bipartisan team, the NADCO committee, was sensitive enough to look at this agenda of cost of living with a sober eye, because things that you agree, the recommendation of saying cut the international travel cost with 50% and then cut the allowances with 30%, that will not help lowering the cost of living. In Kenya, we know you will tell them don't use this money for this, they'll invent something else to use that money for, and eventually that money will...
And remember, this is now the biggest contention here. Martha Karua says that if there is nothing to do with cost of living, then it's a fraud. According to her, it's a fraud.
So you realize, I don't think the committee gave it the attention it deserves, unfortunately, but again, it is hard to tell the government, that is so dedicated to making sure they progress their agenda, to tell them to cut the VAT to this and stop the levy and this and that. So it might require patience, like the president puts it, for us to see what he's doing. He has achieved one with the ugali. Now ugali is going for 130 shillings. So I believe with time things will get better. But the NADCO, I think, failed Kenyans on this one, the cost of living. It is clear it was all about politics. Once the politicians get their deal, the rest can wait.
Out of 10, your rating?
To the NADCO?
Yes. 10.
Out of 10, I think I'll give them 5.
David, do you want to be okay? I don't want to say.
I'll give them 5.
All right. Yes, Wakili.
On the aspect of the cost of living, I will give them a strong 4, given that I mean everybody agrees that on that part they feel. But generally, I will give them a 6 because of the political issues which they will have solved and the way they have purported to organize the politics of the country. I think that will we give it a very good score of a 6. Yes.
All right, gentlemen, thank you so much. We still have a lot more to talk about in the coming days. Allow me to stop it at that particular point. Wakili, I'm told that you also need to rush somewhere. But as always, thank you so much for passing by. And you as a viewer, asante sana for watching. But before you leave, there is a tweet here. Governor Sakaja, if you're watching, and Waziri Murkomen, this is from Triple Bill. He says that along Links Road, next to Links Plaza, there is an Oxbow Lake. If you know your geography very well, an Oxbow Lake there. Governor Sakaja, please send boats. And send boats.
Nasir in Mombasa, not Sakaja.
Yes, Nasir. Nasir. This is Nasir. Please send boats. Someone seems to have blocked waterways. Kipchumba Murkomen, angalia hiyo mambo. This is what it looks like. So
they need boats.
This is what it looks like a full view of an Oxbow Lake along Links Road.
The good thing with Mombasa, I think they have plenty of boats on the standby because of the ocean.
Somebody can just donate.
They can donate some.
Okay, that's what is happening. I believe that somebody is going to be watching this one. And just an update, an hour ago, 5 people died this morning. As we told you, there was an accident along the flyover. We can only say that, you guys, let's just be careful. The long race is going to be here with us for a very long time to come. And we need to cross over to 2024. We've had a very rough couple of years as a nation. All right, that's where we wrap it up. Thank you so much for watching. You know, the show was Good Morning Kenya. Thank you for being a part of the show. My name is Victor Lo. Have a good morning. Bye-bye.
Kwa majina naitwa Catherine Ndongwa Muindi. Nimezaliwa Kadhiani. Nilienda shule ya msingi ya Kidhongoini Primary. Nikaenda shule ya secondary ya Jeno Mulinge. Nikamalizia na kuingia college ya Machakos Teachers College. Kwa hivyo nilimaliza Teachers College on the year of 2004. Ndio nikakuja Nairobi. I'm a mother of 3. Wakati niliingia Nairobi, niliajiriwa katika shule ya Glorious Land ambayo iko katika upande wa Mkuru kwa Njenga. Nikakaa hapo kama mwalimu miaka 3, nikapatiwa promotion, nikakuwa the senior teacher. Kwa hivyo nikakaa katika hiyo shule kwa muda wa miaka 8. Ndio nikatoka tena, nikabadilisha resident, nikaingia Tasia. Wakati niliingia Tasia nikapata tena, nikaajiriwa kwa shule nyingine ilikuwa inaitwa Divine Hope. Nikakaa tena hapo kama mwalimu, nikapandishwa tena chini nikakuwa mwalimu mkuu. Nikakaa hiyo shule mpaka 2018. Wakati nilikuwa kama mwalimu pale, nilikuwa naona challenges zenye watoto walikuwa wanapitia. Mara unaambiwa tuma mtoto school fees, mara mtoto fulani asikae kwa class, unaona mtoto anaenda anapotea kabisa. Kwa hivyo wakati huo nikiwa kama mwalimu, nikakuwa na ile kunguzo kwa roho, naona watoto wanateseka sana. Kwa hiyo kuona hivyo, nikaambia Mungu, naomba siku moja unibariki nikuje nifungue shule nisaidia watoto sababu nilikuwa naona wanateseka sana. Kwa hivyo the year 2019 ndio nikarisaini kazi mahali nilikuwa nimeajiriwa, nikakuja nikafungua shule turumu, tulikuwa tutatu. Haja yangu kubwa ilikuwa ni rescue the slum child, sababu nilikuwa naona watoto wanaenda kuchemba, wanabeba mangunia, au ukiuliza mtoto mbona uendi shule, anakuambia mama hawezi afford school fees. Kwa hivyo wakati nilianza shule ya pricing, nilianza ili nifikie kila mtoto kwa kijiji, na nikatangaza mimi niko hapa kwa kijiji nipate kufikia kila mtoto ambaye aendi shule. Kwa hivyo wakati nilifungua shule January 2019, tulikaa vizuri hiyo mwaka, watoto wakaanza kuripot hata hawana uniform. Mimi nawaambia leteni tu watoto. Turn up ikuwa mbaya hiyo mwaka wa kwanza, nikakuwa na karibu watoto 200. Lakini changamoto ilikuwa watoto hata walipi school fees. Nilikuwa natoa mpaka chakula kwa shamba, tunapikia watoto, tunasiaga uga, wanakunywa uji. Kwa hivyo walikuwa na sikia wako in the right place. Ungepata hata mtoto akuji kusoma, hata wale wadogo ni kama it is a rehabilitation center somehow. Kwa hivyo ungepata watoto wanakuja shule, wanakaa tu, mimi na welcome. Mzazi anakuja anaanza hata acha mtoto kwa gate tu. Mtoto anaingia, nakaa na sijui mama yake. Ikifika jioni hata utajua mwenye alichukua mtoto. Kwa hivyo ikafika mahali nikasema nitaweka kitu kadogo angalau nione kama wazazi wanaweza nisaidia pia, juu mahali niko ni mahali pa kulisi. Nikaweka school fees, wazazi wananiletea 200 kwa mwezi. Tukaendelea hivyo mpaka sasa nikaona tunaweza enda mbali. Nikaamua sasa kuingia na force, nikatafuta chairman wa nyumba 10 ambaye bado saa hii ndio tunasonga na yeye. Akanisaidia, tukaingia kwa mabanda, tulikuwa tunaenda door to door tukitafuta wale watoto ambao hawaendi shule. Tunawaambia wakuje shule, wazazi hawakuwa na tukataa. Tukiwaongelesha wanatuletea watoto.
Kwa ukweli mwaka wa 2019 nilikutana na Madam Catherine mwenye ni director wa hii shule. Alielezwa, akakuja kwangu, akakuja akaniambia mimi ndio anataka niongee na mimi. Nikakumbali, tukaongea, akaniambia amefungua shule mahali karibu na kwangu. Nikakuja nikaona shule, nikakuta amefungua klasi kama 3-4 hivi na ameweka tu watoto hapo tukicheza. Akaniambia yeye ako na fashion ya wale watoto wanalandalanda huku, anataka awafunze kama kuwasaidia. Na mimi sasa nikamwambia kwa vile mimi najua maana ya elimu, nikamwambia hiyo kitu amechukua ni ya maana sana, hata Mungu mwenyewe atamwacha na atamfungulia njia. Enyewe tuliingia kwa kijiji, tukaanza kwenda tukichukua wale watoto wenye waendi shule. Tunaenda huku watoto wanauza mascrap, tunawachukua hapo wakiuza mavyuma, wakiuza misuma, tunawaleta shule. Imekuwa challenge sana kwa sababu hao watoto kuwa maintain kwa shule imekuwa ngumu, kwa sababu kitu ya kwanza kukumbali kukaa bila kuwa na pesa kwa mfuko imekuwa tricky.
Tulikuwa tu tunabisha, tunaambia tunataka tu watoto wakuje shule. Kwa hivyo shule ya pricing ika pick from there hivyo tu. Na ndio unaona mpaka saa hii tuko hapa. Sasa wakati tulikuwa tunaendelea na mambo ya hii door to door, unakutana na kijana mkubwa mpaka unashindwa huyu haendi shule, hata anaweza kukunyang'anya, lakini you have to use polite words to him or her, angalau uone nini inamfanya akuwe kwa kijiji, anaokota takataka, anafanya nini. Anakuambia yeye hata alidropia school class 6. Kwa hivyo unamstreet talk, unafanya friendly to them. Unakuta hata ikiwa unataka kutumana mahali ndio unatumia, na hiyo kutumia hiyo njia ikafanya wakakuwa karibu na wewe. Kwa hivyo ikabidi mpaka wao wenyewe wanaanza sasa kukuletea hata watoto wenyewe wengine haujui. Wanakuambia tija, tuko na rafiki yetu, jioni wakienda unapatia 20 bob. Wakienda nyumbani kesho utaona wamekuja wengine. Ikafika mahali sasa tukaanza kuambia waingie tu kwa class. Wanaanza kuona importance ya kuwa kwa class. Wengine hata wajui kuandika jina yao. Unakuta mtoto ako na ile iga ya kutaka kujua sasa, kujua hata kuandika, kusoma. Kwa sababu mimi nilikuwa nataka tu kufikia yule mtoto ambaye ajiwezi. Yule mtoto ameachiliwa, give up. Kwa hivyo ikafikia mpaka hata ile class sasa niko nayo, majority of them ni walikuwa street children. Like the boy who is now, the boy who was leading. Nilikutana yeye nikiwa nimekaa tu hapa nje. Alikuwa with a certain group. Nikamuita nikamuuliza, wewe kijana, mbona uko kwa njia na naona unapaswa kuwa class? Kwanza akanitupia mikono. Akaenda. Siku give up, nikamngojea akirudi tena. Nikamwambia kuja. Akakuja lakini bado unamuongopa sababu ameweka ile chupa kwa mdomo. Lakini nikamwambia mimi naona unaweza soma. Sio kwa nini uko kwa streets. Wakati alifika akanieleza story yake. Vile wazazi wake hawajiwezi kwa hivi na hivi. Tukaongea na yeye nikamwambia mimi niko nikusaidie. Cause wewe sasa hiyo unalia wazazi wako hawana chochote. Wewe ndio utakuja kuwasaidia baadaye. Akakuja akakubali, lakini ukakuta anakuja leo, kesho akuji. Anaweza kuja kwa wiki siku 2. Ikakuja ikafika mahali sasa akaona uzuri wa masomo. Tukakaa chini na yeye tukamueleza. Akaenda akatuletea, ilikuwa a very good team of boys. Ya watoto walikuwa 12. Wakajikubali. Wakatuuliza, mwalimu tutakubali tukiwa tuko hivi? Tukaambia yeye. Na wakaingia class without books, without uniform. Walikuwa wanavaa viatu zingine tunaziita akara. Wakakaa class. Na tukawa tunavumiliana nao. But hata mimi mwenyewe nikienda mahali wako ama lady na waongopa. Ikanibidi mpaka hata nitafute mwalimu ambaye ni mwanaume. Ako na uzoefu anaweza jua hiyo lugha wanaongea cause wanaongea sheng, sielewi chenye wanaongea. Kwa hivyo unakuta yeye ndio ananitranslatea. Ikafika sasa mahali mpaka nikachukua one of them nikaenda kuishi naye kwangu. Wakati nilikuwa naishi naye kwangu na muonyesha uzuri wa kuishi ni nini. Kwa hivyo huyo kijana sasa akakuwa close to me kabisa. Wakati alikuwa close to me, alinifanya nikajua sasa watoto wa street children how they behave, na si watu wabaya, na si ati wanakaa pale juu ya kupenda kwao. Ikanibidi sasa akaanza sasa kuniingisha mahali hao watoto wanakuanga. Kuna groups wenye wameorganize za kuenda hata kunyang'anya watu. Inanibidi hata inafika jioni tunaenda mahali wako. Tunawaongelesha, tunawaonyesha uzuri wa kukua shule ni nini. Kwa hivyo kupitia huyo kijana ndio unaona leo mpaka leo tunashukuru sababu ametusaidia sana, na tumefikia watoto wengi sana kwa kijiji, na wazazi wengi hawaja tupiga chenga hata kidogo. Wako karibu na sisi, wanataka pia tusaidie wengine. Hata wazazi wenyewe wakisikia mahali pengine kuna mtoto mwingine, wanaweza kuambia mwalimu, tunaweza enda kwa fulani tumsaidie, tumuendee. Unakuta wanatupatia support kubwa sana.
The stage is set for a showcase of young talents as Kenya hosts the CECAFA Under-18 Championship from the 25th of November to 8th of December in Kisumu and Kakamega. Kenya, Sudan, Rwanda, Somalia, Zanzibar, South Sudan and Uganda are battling for the title in the 2-week tournament. The group phase matches are scheduled 25th of November to 1st of December. Then the semi-finals will be played on 5th of December and the final on 8th of December, all in Kisumu. Catch the matches live on KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
Itakuaje? Oya.
Auntie akona ka forehead. Akona the mark of quality.
Ameke rough denel am setan over.
Nataka kumaliza mambo hiyo wedding.
Kwanza kiukia kitu kiambia dirikisa. Rosi pole.
Umenimaliza kama chai kwa kikombe.
Tumezi zote zimebaki December, September, October. Wanaona, I know my age wala.
Ni kama tu nikuje nikwambie uko na kichwa kubwa. Sasa makosa si
au sio? Ndio manake. Okay.
Every Monday from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. on KBC Channel 1.
Hey yo, wagwan my people, manza, it's your girl Saru here, they are modern na niko na pesa na ni za babako. Kasike vibaya huko kwenu. You are watching Grapevine, keep it locked my guys.
Tunadunda kwa mini kamkura.
Welcome to the biggest, the baddest show on this side of the Sahara.
Meet the people here. We're growing a family together.
Different passions, different pursuits, different styles of creativity.
Such an amazing space.
In a world filled with uncertainty, there is one thing we can always count on: the power of compassion and generosity. Every day, families in Kenya face unimaginable challenges and hardships. They struggle to put food on the table, provide shelter for their loved ones, and access basic health care. But today, you have the power to make a difference. By just contributing 1 shilling and 50 cents from your airtime, your generosity can provide access to sanitary pads, nutritious food, clean water, education, and life-saving medical care to those who need it most. To support this cause, please tune in to your favorite radio station under the KBC umbrella for step-by-step instructions on how to subscribe. KBC Helping Hands. Together, we can make a difference and bring hope to those in need.
Thank you for keeping it KBC. This is Good Morning Kenya, and right now we head direct and get straight into transformative leaders. And today I am joined by someone who is in the construction industry. He goes by the name Ibrahim Etuku. Ibrahim, welcome to Good Morning Kenya.
Thank you.
Uko salama?
Niko salama kabisa. Yes.
Unaweza kutueleza what exactly you do?
Okay. Kazi yangu ni kujenga. In fact, naweza anza na kusema kwamba I'm the founder of Etuku Ibra Modern Homes, of which kazi yetu ni kujenga nyumba from foundation up to roofing. Na tulianza 2 years back. Hapo ndo tulitengeneza kampuni inajiita Etuku Ibra, na lengo langu ilikuwa ya kusaidia vijana from my village, of which 80% of vijana wameshapata kazi kupitia kwangu. Wengine walikuwa tu vijana wa kutembea mtaa, wengine walikuwa waizi, lakini nimeshawa transform wengine ni mafundi wa mbao, wengine ni mafundi wa kujenga masonry, wengine wanapaka rangi, na hivyo nashukuru sana kwa sababu kampuni yangu imeleta manufaa kwa jamii pale ambapo mimi hutoka.
How did you get into the industry? Wewe mwenyewe.
Okay. Mimi nikisema aswa I am a totally orphan, ambapo my uncle alinipeleka college ya building and construction. Kutokea hapo nikakuja Nairobi kutafuta kazi. Nime-hustle kweli kweli. But you remember, watu wengi uhustle but hawajui mwelekeo ni wapi. Hapo nikashikana na pastor fulani hapo Kidhurai, kaniambia Ibra, unahitaji uende maombi. Nikaenda maombi. Kuna watu wengi wako na talent. Kuna watu wengi wamesoma, na kuna watu wengi wako na kipaji, lakini hizo vipaji zimeshikwa na roho ya shetani. So hapo nikakimbia maombi, tukaomba sana. Hapo ndio nikafunguliwa, ndio nikaanza kupata breakthrough ya kupata kazi. Nikaanza kuitwa, of which nikaandikwa na kampuni inajiita Side System. Tukatembea nao from 2004 mpaka 2007. Hapo ndio niligain experience. Tumetembea Loresho, Lavington, hakuna mtaa ambao sijui Nairobi hii. Of which mpaka mtaa yenye naishi Maziwa nimejenga nyumba mingi sana. Hiyo ndio ilinifanya nijulikane, na nikashikana na engineer fulani ule alikuwa anafanya Kenya Breweries wakati hizo, alikuwa anajiita Ndunda. Alinifundisha sana on the field, kusoma plans na kuinterpret plans. Hapo ndio niligain more experience kwa hii field of construction.
Yeah. What goes into construction? Wajua watu unasikia tu jina construction, mtu anaona sini kujenga tu. Lakini what exactly goes into construction? Umetaja iko na mambo mengi, kuanzia foundation, kuna mpaka kwa kupaka rangi. So if you can just take us through maybe the process of construction, just kwa kifupi.
Kwa kifupi, for example, kama mtu anataka kujenga nyumba, number 1, unafaa uwe na architect. Before architect, unafaa uwe na uwanja ambao unataka kujenga nyumba yako. Ukishatoka kwa uwanja, upeleke architect aone hiyo field. Ndio aweze kudesign kulingana na vile ameona uwanja. Number 2, kuna process ndio uanze kujenga Kenya hii. Lazima uende kwa county government, uwe na kampuni mzuri ambayo iko registered, uwe na engineers ambao watakuwa wakikuja kuangalia kazi ambao unaofanya. Ile kitu inafanya mimi sana haswa Ibra Modern Homes, watu wengi wamenipenda kwa sababu number 1, mimi na follow instruction. Kama unataka kujenga nyumba, niko na architect wangu ambapo wako kwa kampuni yangu, wananichorea nyumba. Number 2, tunapeleka kwa approvals kwa county. Number 3, tunaenda kwa Neema na NCA, ndio tunaanza mjengo. So before tuanze mjengo, lazima tukue na architect kwa side na engineer wakuje kuconfirm, je, pale ambapo tunajenga ni genuine ama sio vizuri. Una end up kuona watu, labda unaweza kuwa na plot na hujafanya search. So number 2, unafaa uende ufanye tena search. Uone penye ninajenga ni plot yangu ama ni plot ya mtu mwingine. So ni hivyo.
Ukuwe sure kwanza.
Ukuwe sure.
Yeah, so that to avoid mambo ambayo tumekuwa tukiona kuwa inafika mahali watu wanabomolewa nyumba zao ambazo washajenga tayari.
Exactly.
And kuna wakati mwingine ambapo pia watu tunaona majumba yakianguka. You know, it's not the first time tumesikia kuwa sijui jumba fulani wapi ya how many floors imeanguka na ilikuwa na watu pengine ndani, ama ingine ndio ilikuwa inaendelea kujengwa ikaanguka. Pengine makosa huwa iko wapi?
Makosa mostly clients hao wanatumia shortcut, hawafuati procedure yenye inafaa ifuatwe ya mjengo. Akishajorewa tu nyumba anapelekea contractor, yeye anamwambia tu yeye anajua, anaendelesha na mjengo. Lakini the best way ni unafaa ufuate procedure every step. Kama mimi Modern Homes, kama nikichimba foundations, naita engineer anakuja kuconfirm na architect. Lazima tukue na site visit. Na hiyo most clients wana avoid hiyo kwa sababu ya cost. Wanaona nikilipa hii architect labda anamcharge 10,000 na engineer anamcharge tena 15,000. Wanaona hiyo cost inakuwa kwao mzito, ndio maana wanaenda shortcut, wanatumia tu contractor kujenga nyumba, na ndio unaona hizi problems zimejaa Kenya. So the best way ya mjengo tunafaa tuwe na kitabu kwa site. Ukichimba foundation unafaa uite engineer, uite architect wakuje kuconfirm. Ukianza kufunga chuma wanafaa tena wakuje. Before ukoroge unafaa uwaite. Hivyo hatutakuwa na shida hapa Kenya. Tutakuwa tumemaliza hizo shida kabisa. Ndio.
Watu wengi wanaona kama construction is very expensive. For you, would you say that construction ni expensive? You know, mtu anaona kabla nianze kujenga pengine nikuwe nime save for I don't know how long, like it's very expensive.
No, for me construction sio expensive kwa sababu hii unaenda in stages. Unaweza amua ukoroge foundation na unyamaze kidogo. Alafu ukuje tena ukirecover upandishe wall. Ukishapandisha wall ukuje ukoroge. Sijaona kama ni very expensive. But usikufe moyo, mwenye unayo nitazama. Ile kitu unaweza kuambia tu, ile kidogo uko nayo. Mimi naambianga client wangu, wananiulizanga nikiwa na 4.5 inaweza jenga, na waambia gorofa. Lakini unaweza anza na kidogo uko nayo. Hata 500,000. Unaweza anza nayo. Unaweza chimba mitaro, ujenge foundation na ukoroge. And then you wait. Kama 3 months ama 4 months ukirecover ukipata pesa, then unakuja unainua walls pole pole hivyo. Ndio. Kuna
period ya kungoja ama haina timeline? Sema nimefanya vile umeniambia, I just got pesa yangu ambayo ni kidogo ambayo nimeweka aside, ni decide I'm getting into construction, naanza. Nimekuita umenitengenezea foundation and then mimi nimekwama sasa. So is there a timeline yenye hiyo foundation inaweza kukaa kwanza kabla iongezwe, ama it does not matter, hata inaweza kaa a whole year alafu mtu aendeleze ama?
Hakuna timeline. Unaweza ikoroga, unaweza ngoja hata 1 year foundation. Inategemea na vile imetengenezwa. Yes. Ndio. So hata ukimaliza miezi 6 bado unaweza endelesha tu, usikufe moyo useme nimekoroga foundation inaharibika. Hapana.
Haiwezi haribika kama imeshawekwa.
Yes, yes.
All right. You work with young people. You work with a lot of youth. Umesema like you've worked with so many of them, you've brought them in. Importance ya kuwa na skill ni gani? Ya kukuwa na skill tu, kukuwa uko na ujuzi fulani, umuhimu wake ni upi?
Nao nikiongea kwa hii Kenya ya saa hii, haufai kuwa tu bila skill, kwa sababu ukienda huku nje watu wamesoma. Na ninapongezi mheshimiwa serikali yetu kuleta hii KBC. Kwa sababu hii KBC inakuwa na uwezo wa kunacha talents ukiwa young. Na issue ambayo tuko nayo kwa hii nchi yetu ni ya kwamba unakuta mtu amepatiwa ministry ambao hakusomea, na ndio unaona haiwezi kurun kwa sababu hana ile kitu ndani yake. So the importance ya kuwa na skill hapa Kenya ina benefit. Kama mimi inani benefit kwa sababu ninalisha jamii yangu, watoto wangu wanaenda shule, na naweza fanya mambo yangu kadhalika. Ndio.
And something else with skill, kama uko nayo Just skill usahau, najua kutengeneza hii, najua tu.
Exactly.
You know, it's not something ambayo mtu anaweza kuja kuibie. You've learned about it, unaijua.
Yes.
Lakini pia many young people nowadays wanaona kama, hata si nowadays, just young people wanapenda white collar jobs. Wanaona kama hizi kazi ambazo za kama mjengo ya construction, yani si kazi, hakuna mtu anataka kusema mimi nafanya kazi kwa mjengo. What would you advise concerning that? And umepatana na watu kama hao kwa hii industry yako ambayo pia una mentor young people. Have you gotten young people ambao pengine kidogo wako mjengo, yani mimi you know, wanaona kama mjengo ni kazi ambayo ni duni?
Hapana. Mimi naweza sema hivi, aswa hata ukikuja kwa kampuni yangu utapata hata niko na watu wako na degree, wako na diploma, na bado wanasukuma tu wheelbarrow. Wengine wanachimba mtaro wakingoja siku yao ikifika. Lakini naweza sema hivi, kazi ya mjengo kwa saa hii inalipa. Inalipa vizuri kabisa. So usingoje useme ati kwa sababu nimesoma sasa siwezi fanya mjengo. Hapana. Kazi ya mjengo ni kazi mzuri. Mimi imenijenga na ninafurahia kwa sababu imenifikisha mahali ambapo nimefika. Yes. Ndio.
Kwa hivyo ukizungumzia wale ambao pengine wanatuwatch sasa hivi ambao ni young people, like it's a job that pays.
Exactly.
Mjengo is a job that pays.
Yes.
Kwa hivyo wasisikie kama ambaye ni aibu.
Ndio. Yes, wasisikie kama ni aibu. Ile kitu ninaweza sema, kuja tusaidie kujenga taifa. Mjengo ni kazi, uichukulie kama kawaida. Usikue kwa nyumba ukisema ati kwa sababu niko na makaratasi ninangojea kazi. Huku kazi hakuna. Unaweza anza na mjengo na ukute uko mbali sana kimaisha. Ndio.
Na mjengo iko na kazi nyingi, like it can employ a lot of people kwa sababu kuna vitu tofauti. Pia plumbing is part of mjengo, right?
Yes.
So there's plumbing, mtu anaweza kuingia kama plumber. There's the electricians as well. Bado wako employed tu kwa the same industry. You know, there are the people who paint as well. Kwa hivyo construction is an industry ambayo iko na opportunities nyingi. Right? Iko na opportunities nyingi. So vijana ambao wewe unafanya kazi nao, pengine unawatoa wapi, mnapatana wapi, and how do you bring them into the industry? How do you incorporate them kwa kazi yako?
Okay. Sometimes ninaenda kwa village, unaona huyu kijana ako idle, unamchukua, unamlete, tunaanza kufanya naye kazi. Na wengine sometimes wanakuja tu wenyewe wanauliza job, na bado ninawaajiri. Yes. Ndio.
You also do renovations. Naweza kuniambia kidogo kuhusu renovations and how to go about them?
Yes. Kwanza siku hizi renovation ndio mingi kushinda kujenga, kwa sababu kwa saa hii sasa tunachukua hizo nyumba mzee tunazimodify into new ones. So tunakuja ukiniita, ninaangalia nyumba yako, unanieleza vile unataka. Kama unataka extension, ninaita architect, anakuja na iangalia na ichora, alafu tunaimodify hata uwezi ijua kama ni mzee. Yes. Ndio.
What goes into renovations exactly?
Okay, renovations ni kama upate nyumba mzee, mtu anataka kuchange tiles, anataka kuchange walls, painting, roof. Sometimes zingine anakuambia nyumba yangu inanyesha, mabati imefed. Hapo ndio inaingilia renovations. Ndio.
Siku hizi interior design, people are very big in interior design. Bado interior design ni nyinyi ambayo mna work nayo, ama interior design is different from construction, ama it's just the same?
It's just the same.
It is the same.
Yes. So interior design inaingilia wakati sisi tumejenga structure, tumepiga plaster, tumeweka milango, tumefit, and then tunakuja na interior designer wetu of which tuko naye kwa ofisi, anakuja na design vile inakaa na inakuwa mzuri kabisa, smart. Yes.
Unaweza sema challenges ambazo ziko kwa construction industry ni kama zipi ambazo wewe mwenyewe umezipitia?
Okay, challenge number 1, unaweza taka kufanyia mtu kazi mzuri, lakini unakuta huyu mtu hiyo kazi ingekula kama tuseme 3 million, anakuambia niko na 2.5, na kwa sababu hiyo kitu iko ndani yako, unataka kumfanyia kazi, unakuta ile pesa haijatosha, hujaweza kulipa mafundi vizuri. So hiyo ndio challenge number 1 tunapitia. Unapata tajiri amekuambia Ibra, nataka unifanyie kazi, lakini amejifinya, amekufinya kweli kweli, lakini na wewe tu hiyo kitu iko ndani yako, unasema wacha nikufanyie kazi. So hiyo ndio challenge number 1 tunapitia. Challenge number 2 tena ni availability of material. Kupata material, maybe material iko Nairobi na wewe unajenga Busia, so hiyo transportation inakuwa tena hard kufikia site. Ndiyo. Yes.
Hizo ndio challenges ambazo you're encountering.
Yes.
And, you know, for the longest time watu wanasema mafundi ni watu waongo sana. Mafundi yeyote yule nguo wa kujenga, yani mafundi wanajulikana kama watu waongo. So maybe how do you deal with fundi wako, because some people huwa wanasema like umenunua cement kiasi fulani, lakini unakuta si hicho kiasi ambacho kinatumika. Pengine mafundi wanatumia kiasi kidogo, alafu wanapata kuuza some of the cement that you've already bought. Pengine how do you deal with such cases?
Aswa mimi upande hiyo nakuanga very strict. Before nikujengee, number 1 nakuambianga site man lazima awe wa mdosi, site manager. Number 2, watchman, tuna employ watchman, of which mdosi mwenyewe ndiye ana employ watchman. So mimi sijawahi encounter na hiyo case, but nafikiri hiyo challenges ziko, lakini ukitengeneza hivyo mdosi awe ndiye anachunga material, wewe mnalipisana tu na yeye labor, hapo unakuwa safer side. So hutakuwa na case ya kwamba nilikuwa nilileta simiti yangu mfuko 20, of which ina happen. Hata nilikuwa na site, for example, nimeambia mdosi hii slab itatumia mfuko 250. Na mwenyewe wako hapo, unakuta imekula 280. Of which unamuuliza sasa kama ungekuwa, so ungesema mimi ni mwizi, anasema ni ukweli. So the best thing, wacha mdosi mwenyewe atafute watu wa kuchunga site na kuchunga store ya material. Hapo utakuwa umepunguza hizo case ya kusema kwamba simiti yangu imepotea, simiti yangu imeibiwa. Yes.
Are there new ways that have been adopted in construction sasa hivi? Feel kama kuna njia mpya ambazo sasa hivi zinatumika, pengine ambazo hazikuwa zinatumika kitambo? Kunazo kweli njia?
Yes. Yeah. Kwa sababu sasa dunia tunaenda, technology inaenda ikienda mbele, inabidi hata na sisi tusonge kulingana na vile technology iko. Kwa sababu kitambo ukipata tulikuwa tunatumia ceiling boards, sasa tunatumia gypsums. Wall master haikuwa imekuja, tulikuwa na paint tu. So lazima tukue na experts ambao wanatusaidia kuingiana na hiyo technology as the world goes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You move with technology.
Yes.
Maneno ya mwisho pengine tukimaliza. Kama kuna maneno mengine ni sawa.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mimi naweza sema hivi. Unaweza like my page Etuku Ibra Modern Homes. Sisi ni watu ambao tunajenga. Hatuna any complaint. ambapo mtu amesema Etuku alinijengea nyumba yangu vibaya. So karibuni nyote muinvest in Etuku Ibra Modern Homes. Ile kitu inasaidia kwa hii industry ni ya kwamba niko creative. Ukifollow hiyo page yangu Etuku Ibra Modern Homes, utaona ninafanya kazi tofauti na watu wengine na utaipenda sana.
Okay. Thank you so much for joining us, Ibra. Yes. And yeah, we'll check the page. All right, this is where I will call it a wrap for myself right here on Good Morning Kenya. But we want to leave you with a feature on gender-based violence. That is what I'll be leaving you with right now. Until tomorrow, have a good day.
Every individual has their internal struggles they would rather keep to themselves, away from the scrutiny of others. Meet Chebet, not her real name, who seems okay from the outside, but she carries with her a painful story. It was a day like any other when she boarded a motorbike to go to work, when the motorcyclist diverted to what he termed a shorter route.
Kaniambia tunaenda na hiyo ndo tufike haraka. Akasema sasa ni mapema na mtu hata penye ananipeleka haifai, but ile nikamwamini, nikaona asa amesema pia anaenda kare, acha niende anifikishe haraka kwa sababu nilikuwa nimechelewa.
That ride will change her life forever.
Sasa kwa good luck ikasimama. Baada sasa ile kusimama akanigonga. So kuanguka ndo akashuka kwa pikipiki akakuja akanivuta. Ndo akanitoa trouser. Akaanza kunirape.
She felt like the world had conspired against her, and she wept for days on end.
So like hakuna mtu nimeingizwa hapo ndani, sasa nikakosa advice nitafanya nini. Kwa familia yetu hakuna mtu anakuwa anajua, so nilikuwa nashinda tu kwa nyumba analia, nasema sasa kutakuwaje.
She opted for counseling.
Na sasa nilikuja hiyo first session, niliona like kuna wasichana wengine, so nikakuwa like kumbe si mimi peke yangu, ningekaa kwa nyumba ningeumia peke yangu.
At the recovery center, we met 2 more women who have also suffered from domestic violence. As mothers and wives, they persevered abuses from their spouses for a long time.
Mi kufika saa 4, it's like aliona nimekuja kama saa 8 usiku ama sijui ni nini. Akaanza kunipiga, kanipiga. Watoto wamelala, anawaambia wasijaribu kuongea.
For Elizabeth Wambui, her love story turned into a nightmare when she got pregnant.
I just wanted a yes or no answer. You promised to take me for the baby we are expecting shopping. Are we going so that I can get ready? But he snapped off and started beating me up.
She wanted to save her marriage, but in her silence, it would seem she was digging her own grave.
At a point where now he takes a metal and he's strangling me. He wants to kill me. And he's swearing curses and swearing how he will kill me and kill the children.
Counseling for both women was a 7 grace that brought them peace and healing. They want other women to break the silence on gender-based violence.
Ifanywa kitu kwa hiyo, inafaa ujitokeze. Kwa sababu mimi sikuwa na courage ya kukuja hivi.
Msivumilie, watu wengi sana wanakufa. Wanauliwa juu ya tijina nimeolewa. Siwezi toka kwa mume wangu.
Stop keeping quiet, because keeping quiet first of all is the enabling factor for these people.
Fina Nyakwara, case manager from the Gender Violence Recovery Center, attributed most gender-based violence in Kenya to patriarchal culture.
And because again, when you look on the culture and the stereotyping in the society, sometimes it drags the elimination of gender-based violence in Kenya actually. But it just calls for so many individuals or partners just to work towards elimination.
Abed Sadi, a safety consultant, calling for a collective responsibility to eliminate gender-based violence.
It's not an individual responsibility. It's a responsibility of the state that those women works on or operate in. It's a responsibility of the organizations on general. and the organizations that are working on the women issues. So it's not only the responsibility of the woman only to protect herself, but it is related to the society.
The Gender-Based Violence Hotline 1195 works in partnership with the Ministry of Public Service and Gender to help victims get fast assistance to healthcare assistance.
Nowhere in the world is the woman safe from violence. The need to unite and invest in the key preventive measures will go a long way to eliminate violence against women.
From the dawn of independence to the present day, Kenya has journeyed with strength and determination. We celebrate Kenya at 60. As we mark this incredible milestone, KBC and Jamboree present an unforgettable celebration of culture, music, and awareness. Immerse yourself in a musical journey featuring global sensations like the Mighty Itals and Everton Blender, all the way from Kingston, Jamaica, along with our incredible homegrown artists. But it's not just about the music. Join us for a day of cancer awareness with free cancer screenings. In addition, we will have a fun-filled family day, including horse riding, bouncing castles for the kids, and a special tree planting exercise. Save the dates as we tour a county near you. Ticket information is available on our social media handles at Jamboree Festival KRE. Join the celebration, feel the rhythm, and make memories that will last a lifetime. Happy birthday, Kenya.
Oh, Toto wapenda chipsi, wengine waletea hipsi.
Maongo.
Siko serious. Siko serious.
Koko wasiwe na akili mbanu we. Kwe kulumenu akili yaku. Kee chao.
Ya 500 yale kuku kwenda huko.
Napunguza mpaka hasira. Naweza kupatia kikombe moja opoe moto.
I told you I'm the next of kin. I'm the immediate cousin of the late Mzee Ojwang, who was the proprietor and the CEO of this hotel.
Okay, unaweza kuwa hutaki kuolewa, roho itaki, lakini mwili inataka.
Kutoka hapa.
These are the moments we live for every Friday as we catch up with the world of football.
Manchester City go in front.
With your favorite stars in rivalries like no other that keeps you on the edge of your seat. Learn a few tricks that keep you ahead of the game and spice it all with unforgettable moments on Dunda Dunda. On Saturday, you're in for another treat as we rock your weekend with all sporting disciplines, bringing you insights on what's happening behind the scenes as we share players and athlete stories, preparations, and celebrate their achievements.
Charging to the line! Is it going to be a world record? Yes, it is! She smashed it!
Whatever angle you look at, we've got you covered. KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
This baobab tree stands tall, boasting of its unique architecture. Its height and width captivating to the eye, while providing shade and protecting the ecosystem as its deep roots shield the soil from erosion. These trees are known to live for up to 5,000 years and can reach up to 30 meters high, with a circumference of about 50 meters. But despite the impressive architecture and value, they're under threat. Our visit to little-known Mnarani Ward in Kilifi County, home to hundreds of baobab trees, brings us to the doorsteps of 67-year-old Mwanajuma Athumani Mwakuzimu, popularly known as Mama Neti.
Hiyo mibuyu sasa inakatwa na tupatia challenge. Sijui ni biashara gani, lakini hii naona watu wanadharau haya mabuyu lakini mazuri.
She is a village household name owing to her skills of making mabuyu. Mabuyu is a Swahili word. It refers to a type of traditional confectionery derived from seeds from the baobab tree that are processed and packaged for those with a sweet tooth.
Hapa sasa ninakaribia kuwa sasa. Hii sukari kwa sababu nimeweka maji sasa, huwa nataka itokote kidogo, kwa sababu ikitokota sana inashika. Ikishika wakati ukiweka mabuyu yanakuwa magumu, lakini haitokoti sana, kidogo tu hivi alafu naweka ndio inakuwa soft.
Her thriving mabuyu business is at risk. A majority of the baobab trees are a target for traders keen on selling them for profit.
Hata juzi niliona nikiwa pale Mkoroshoni, nikaona huo mbuyu na buruto unaletwa hapa feri. Sasa naona wanatupunguzia kazi, lakini si sawa. Kwa sababu hii mibuyu yenyewe mwanzo kiasifikia hapo huwa iko na muda mrefu.
Profits that the locals rarely reap.
Gunia alikuwa kwa tunanunua 500. Hii bandali unauziwa 300. Sasa hivi hii bandali ni 700. Tena haijatengenezwa.
We set out to the next homestead, and we stumble on a ship ferrying huge baobab trees. Our efforts to get comments from those ferrying the precious cargo are fruitless. None of them is willing to comment. We get back on the road. Shortly after, we are greeted by scenes of baobab trees that once stood tall lying on the ground. These trees were on the property of 70-year-old Mzee Katana Mwadziro. We probe him on why he opted to fell the trees.
Subuhi tu ya kama kitu saa 3 ndo vijana wakaja hapa. Walikuwa karibu 4 na mzungu mmoja ambaye ndiye mwenyewe huyo alikuwa akitafuta himi. Huku kwangu ilikuwa kama ambaye hawataichukua, lakini baadaye ndo wakaja kaniuliza, asema tahi yako tutaichukua, yangu nayo wakaichimba na kuilalisha. Wakaja na yule mtaalamu wa ile miti, akaizunguka huyo mzungu mwingine, ndo akaambia hii miti tutamlipa huyu mzee, lakini hatuwezi kuibeba maana yake imepitwa na wakati, imeumia sana kulingana na vile imeketi ule muda.
At what cost, we ask?
Wajua pesa ni shetani. Tulikuwa kama tumefahamiwa ghafla. Ilipokuja hiyo msema kuwa tataka hii miti tununue, utanunua pesa gapi? Pesa hii, ile pesa ulioambiwa ni pesa ambayo utahujawahi kuishika kwa siku nyingi, waona ni pesa. Sasa hiyo ilikuwa kwa ghafla. Wao waliniambia kwa hii yako ni sezi ndogo, tutakupatia shilingi 30,000.
It is a similar script for Patrick Mwangudza Kai.
Kwanza walikuja homa agent, baadaye sasa wajua kuna utapeli ambao ulikuwa unaendelea, kwa sababu yule mwenyewe wajua uzuri angekuja yule mwenyewe.
In his case, he received 100,000 Kenyan shillings from the sale of his trees, unlike Mzee Katana who only got 30,000 Kenyan shillings.
Walituadaa kwa sababu wajua walikuja na lugha tamu kwanza. Sio wao mwenyewe lakini yule agent, kwa sababu kama alikuja na tuambia kama hii price, okay, Baada ya muda tulikuwa kama tumemwambia kama 250,000, yeye akatupatia 100,000.
They argue they opted to rid the land of the trees in hopes of planting other crops. Begging the question, are they aware of the value of the trees or its impact on the environment?
Kwa kusema kweli sisi wenyeji wa huku hatuioni faida. Maanake faida yake ni za mabuyu, na kutakuja vijana kwambie na yataka haya mabuyu. Haya ukiyashukisha utanipa pesa ngapi? Nitakupatia kama 100 hivi.
Zile mabuyu zenyewe kuna hizo mtembe zake hizo, unaweza hata weka kwa mboga zikakuletea ladha nyingine.
Isingeuzwa kwa sababu naijua umuhimu wake. Hata mabuyu ni chakula tena kizuri sana. Unapokula mabuyu sana kwa wingi unapunguza mafuta kwa mwili. Kwa hivyo mimi as an individual singeruhusu mabuyu ikatwe.
We visit an elderly native Giriama man who shares with us the rich cultural history of the trees.
They are important. They should not be cut because they bring blessings. It helps as you can conduct prayers under the tree and God will hear you.
Elders would also pray under the trees.
Our ancestors would pray to the spirits by going around the baobab. Its power is a blessing to us.
This means felling of the trees of commercial gain is considered taboo.
Sasa tumekataa mila, tumekuwa watumwa. Kila kitu tunasema ni takataka. Sasa hata sehemu tukimwambia mbuyu usiuze ni kitu muhimu, anakuambia mimi nataka kupanda mahindi bwana.
But what do environmentalists feel about the wanton destruction of the baobab tree? The destruction of baobab trees continues despite the ban on harvesting indigenous trees. Environment CS Soipantuye has cautioned those engaging in destruction of the trees.
I have with immediate effect instructed the Kenya Forest Service to cancel the movement permit that had been issued to allow for the transportation of the baobab trees, pending a comprehensive assessment of this case.
As it stands, the locals appear uninformed on the value of the trees on the ecosystem.
Kwa nini kama ni hii minazi watu wanaelimishwa, mikorosho wanaelimishwa? Kwa nini kama miembe watu wanaelimishwa? Kwa nini kama huu mbuyu, kwa nini hawaelimishi watu umuhimu wake? Unajua inaleta zogo kwa sababu gani? Hii zogo inakuja kwa sababu hatukuelimishwa umuhimu wa mibuyu. Na mbuyu kama uko kwangu mimi have the right. Kama nisiutaki mimi nautoa. Lakini wajua wangekuwa wangeelimisha watu pia. Apart from hiyo miti mingine pia waelimisha watu kuhusu mibuyu.
If little is done to stop the ongoing exploitation, the destruction of the trees, the impact will be devastating to future generations.
Nakataa kabisa, katakata kabisa. Manake sasa wazee wetu wamesema tutunze hii mibuyu na iko na maana nyingi sana juu yetu.
Policies and laws need to be implemented as a matter of priority to protect the baobab tree that dots the landscape in the coastal region that is now under threat from human destruction.
No one knows of its existence. Most of the locals grew up and found it already in existence. It is a tapestry of many things, interwoven in beliefs, culture, tradition, medicinal value, and so many other things, including the environmental aesthetic. Now, the cry of the locals is that this indigenous tree may be protected, should be protected from exploitation. From Kakanjuni in Kilifi County, I'm Serafina Robi for KBC Channel 1.
Technology has become a crucial part of our society. Without technological advancements, so much of our everyday lives would be drastically different. As technology develops, it strives to fulfill the changing needs of society. This means that technology exists to help us achieve the things that we wouldn't be able to achieve without it. Take on Tech looks at the advantages and downside of technological innovation in a world that is becoming increasingly dependent on new digital technologies. Every Monday at 10:30 p.m. Music can be magical. It's the soul for life and gives immense peace to us. It has a powerful therapeutic effect on the human psyche. Whether secular or gospel. There's a song for everyone, every occasion, and every emotion. God bless you.
Before the storm never lasts long. Once the Bundesliga action begins, feathers fly. By match day 11, Bayern were still not leading the league. And visitors Heidenheim proved they wouldn't be pushovers. But is there any stopping Harry Kane? Down at the bottom, tensions are high. There's no quarter given when four cellar-dwelling teams go head-to-head. Because losing isn't an option. Free-flowing Leverkusen aim to stay top, and we're up against mostly luckless Union Berlin.